You are about to witness history in the making.
So good afternoon, or should I say good morning, good afternoon, evening, and welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers show. Again, this is 118 podcast in season 2, and to my, actually not to my left or right, but in front of me on one screen. Hello, Haydn.
Hello there, Steve. How are you doing?
Not bad. And Mark, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you, Haydn? How are you doing?
Yes, jolly good mood today.
Yep, Steve's already had a rant about Mass Effect and whether or not it's a Xbox Series X native or optimized or whatever.
What we're going to do is we're going to leave it, hopefully. Hayden's going to put that as an Easter egg at the end of the show. So you have to listen to the jingle or the outro and then wait for it after. And if he decides to put it in,
we'll see.
Anyway, guys, what have you been up to? Come on, let's get going because it's late.
Go on, Mark, you start off.
All right, I've been doing probably my last bit of landscaping, helping a friend out for a while, because yesterday I was back in the kitchen. Hooray!
Hey.
I know, it's all started after a long 4 months.
Did it seem strange?
To be honest, we had a kind of big staff meeting, because we've got quite a few new staff come in, mostly up front. But so there was quite a big staff meeting, lots of prep, but it was good to see each other again. We were all obviously in the meeting, we were all distanced, wearing masks and what have you, but we open up tomorrow, so it'll be actually to have people. I worked a bit for takeaway over the last month or so, but to have people inside, that hasn't happened since before Christmas. And it's just going to be strange. It's going to be a bit of a kind of rehabilitation time, I think. But we're ready. So that's the important thing. That was what yesterday was all about, getting that set up, getting, all the prep for...
No training involved, is there?
There was out front for the new staff, yeah. But for most of the chefs, thankfully, we got one young guy starting this coming week, but not until, I don't think his first day is until Thursday, so that's fine. He just popped his head in to say hello and introduce himself and kind of get familiar. I showed him around and showed him where everything is. I'm not expecting him to remember much of it, but
kids, you're probably going to get shouted at and screamed at when it kicks off. And
we're not like that. We're
not. That not like Gordon Ramsay, then, is it? In there?
No, we're not like that. We're quite nice people, to be honest. We're not a shouty kitchen. It does get stressful when you're really under the cosh and you've got tickets coming out of your ears. But
So what if someone does something underdone or haven't done it correctly? Who gives the bollocking?
You just redo it. You just have to. If you're in that situation, if you're slow, then it's more annoying. If you're really busy, then you don't really have time to kind of take care of the person that's made the mistake or what have you at the time. You just correct it, move on, maybe have a quiet word at the end of the day. But most of the time, by then, it's all, everybody's moved on. We're quite a nice kitchen in that respect. We don't shout unless it's just because someone's doing something loud.
Do we get any food come back to you at all? Have you ever had that?
In touch wood, hardly ever, actually. Most of the time. We do sometimes, because there's been a misunderstanding between the customer and whoever took the order. But that's not our fault. We just do what's on the ticket. But if what's on the ticket isn't necessarily what they want, then sometimes you do have to redo it.
I just wonder if it would ever be like Hell's Kitchen, if you ever seen that.
What, idiot, 2 pieces of bread on either ear and it's an idiot sandwich kind of thing. No, thankfully we're nice, and in the main, I think everybody that I work with know what they're doing. So
you wouldn't throw an uncooked salmon against a brick wall somewhere or something like that?
No. You do sometimes, sometimes you feel like it, but that's just the nature of the job, I think.
Haydn doesn't work like that, do you, mate?
But other than a bit of working, I've done a little bit of gaming, but my gaming has been brief this week. I haven't had a lot of time, unfortunately, but because the kids have all started Cubs and things like that this week as well, so that's all the drop-offs and things has taken up more time. But other than that, it's good to be back in the kitchen. Looking forward to tomorrow. See how it goes. I'll report back next week. And so, people inside from tomorrow. Hope you're all going to support your local businesses. It's been a long time.
Oh, God, yeah.
What have you guys been doing this week? Good week?
For me, it's been a really slow week. Most of my week this week has been sort of doing data inputting, which has been an absolute nightmare. But fortunately, I've got to the end of it. Thank God for that. However, I have done another podcast.
Oh, you sly devil!
Really? But this one is for safeguarding children.
Ah, yes.
So I've done my work podcast, which is talking about how to sort of identify concerns about children and young people who may be suffering what we call hidden harm. So that's basically any harm that's not being seen by somebody who works with a child or a young person. So, for example, children coming back after the last lockdown, has there been big changes in their personality? How about their appearance, about their attitudes, about things that they talk about? And it's to raise the awareness with anybody, really, but particularly people who work with or come into contact with children and young people, to sort of like have that bigger thought of, is that child all right? So, like a taxi driver taking a child to a hotel. Why would a child be going to a hotel, really? Could they be being exploited, blah, blah, blah. And, there could be a legitimate reason, just like there could be, a child's personality might change, but that might be because they're growing up and are trying to feel the boundaries and assert themselves, or it could be because they're being harmed in some sort of way, either through, the mental impact of lockdowns, or it could be that maybe
strain there, isn't it?
Being bullied or neglected or abused or whatever. So that's what my new podcast was about.
Is that out and about there somewhere?
Yes, it's for the North Yorkshire Safeguarding Children Partnership, funnily enough, on Anchor. But if you just search for that, there's only one podcast there, but it's going to be a new series of podcasts I'll be doing, but that'll be directly related to my work. Interesting
enough, though, if you hadn't ever done podcasting like this, like we have been for God knows how many years, it would have probably felt very strange to do it, but I should imagine doing that, you didn't have, other than the script to be different, obviously, it was probably just went in the flow and just knocks it out of the park, probably.
Well, I mean, there are lots of different ways. We have like a semi-scripted conversation, which, we put down in terms of what we do here on this show. We put down our notes on a Word document, and then we talk around them, and then just get the general banter and
abuse
and falling into arguments between me and Steve normally.
Oh.
And then this one was very different, because the way that I did it, I actually took inspiration for the format of it from an audiobook, which was Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Future, whereby it's sort of like a recording of a part of a conversation with other people, but with me doing like a segue between each one. So, I'd be like saying, if you're a business, you might be, think about how can hidden harm, blah, blah, we'll explain. And then it goes into them talking. So I'm sort of like steered the conversation, but everybody's contributed what they've said. I didn't write the script for them, and then it's just people regurgitating it. It's like real people who I work with.
Right.
So it's like it was a very different sort of interesting challenge to do, but it's something that we want to invest more in, because obviously now people are a lot more receptive to having things like podcasts and stuff like that in their lives for a work purpose. Because it's a good way of communicating information. So we want to, cash in on that, because you can put stuff on YouTube and people can watch YouTube, but you can't watch a YouTube while you're in the car. You can listen to a YouTube, to a podcast when you're in the car. So, and it's just, it's making information more accessible in different formats, because there are some people who listen to it and take it in, or other people who watch it and take it in, blah blah blah.
More accessible, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So if we can find 2 or 3 different ways of giving people the information in different formats, hopefully we're maximising our audience in terms of input, and that's going to spearhead the continuation of the campaign that I've been running for the last year.
Oh, that's good.
So so it's quite nice to be in that sort of role. And it's given me a bit more flexibility. It was a nice little project to do. Other than that, I had Mass Effect arrive. Really. Apart from I had lots of problems around that. Basically, I pre-ordered from Amazon, who failed to deliver on the day that it was launched. Which, to me, the whole point of a pre-order is that they get it to you on the day of launch. It was actually the next day, but at one point they were saying it was going to be midway through the next week.
I don't get all that. That's totally beyond me with how Amazon works, because everything else is pre. If a Blu-ray comes out, that's delivered to you the day it's released. It's on your doorstep in the morning.
They're normally on the button, aren't they?
Yeah, and anyway, I was not impressed with the service, and I won't be using them for pre-orders again, because I've lost faith in them for that. They're a great store otherwise.
PC version, obviously, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I also had the PC version on pre-order, because Mass Effect is my favourite, and I intend to play it on all platforms. So I thought, I've got CD keys coming. So messaged CD keys on the day before saying, or tweeted them, when are you releasing the keys for Mass Effect? No response. So, and then I said, look at our facts. So I looked at the facts, which said we'll release them on the day it's released. I thought, well, that's not very good. And that is completely against what CD keys normally do. So
if you got the key before, and it's only pre-downloaded, isn't it? Ready to go?
Well, it would be controlled through Origin, so you couldn't
the PC,
launch it. Yeah, you couldn't launch it before that time anyway, because Origin stops that.
Couldn't you have bought it through Origin?
I could have done, but it was more expensive.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for it then?
40.
And how much through Origin?
59.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I paid 54 for it, I think.
Yeah.
I had a discount.
So I was a bit sort of, hacked off, but I thought, well, I'll wait till a day. And then a day came and no key.
Everyone was playing it, and you're thinking...
Yeah, people were playing it on the consoles. I was sort of like, come on. I mean, I know I was at work, but what I wanted to do was download it so that it was free for when I finish work. Which I think is a fair enough thing to want to do. Yeah. So, I ended up messaging CD keys, who just did not respond at all. I saw other people saying exactly the same things. And then I only happened to check just randomly on their site at about 3:00, and my key had dropped at that point. There was no email to say, here's your key.
But they normally email him anyway, don't they? That's how it works.
Yeah, but normally they email you the day before to let you have your key. Now, I don't know if this is something to do with Origin, or if it's something else, if it's just something else, but it just feels like it was a really bodged launch of this game.
So the PC version wasn't launched till 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Where the Xbox console version was released at midnight to the day.
Yeah.
So 1 minute over, I was able to fire it up and have a quick look.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And I was sort of like, I was sat there thinking, I wish I'd just ordered it digitally, because it's not like I'm not going to get rid of this. That I am going to get rid of this. You know, I'm going to keep this one.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of like, I might as well have just bought it digital, but, you know, I
don't know why you didn't really. Huh?
Well, I got the disc version cheaper. You know, I got the disc version for not much cheaper, to be fair.
So you got to make sure you got the disc in to play the game, though, haven't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's never a problem for me.
Was the delayed times, was that particular to this region globally?
It was this region, yeah.
Right.
But I couldn't understand why there was the delay on Origin on PC as well. So I just feel that I think that this is obviously probably something that has been EA led, which has then impacted on CD keys and Amazon. But it's just been a complete bodge job. I just really wasn't very pleased. But anyway, I got the key at 3 o'clock and downloaded it, and it was ready to play by 7 o'clock.
That's not too bad, is it?
No, but that was a whole lot.
And
it was
some that night.
Yeah, I got some that night, and it's great to be back in that universe. So what about you, Steve?
So, as I said previously, I was wanting to sell my Xbox One X, which I think came out 2018. So I sold it to a friend because he was looking for a console. Looking at the options I had, if it was going to be CEX or if you're going to try and sell it personally, selling it personally is a bit more too much grief, probably, because someone then might want it delivered, posted, or whatever. So my friend could have it, and he came from Bognor Regis this morning, popped in, picked it up, handed over the money via a phone to my account, straight in there, and on his merry way. After we had a bit of a chat about the Game Pass, because he didn't need too much about that, because he was on the 360, was his last machine, so he's in for an eye-popping, even from the Xbox One series, you know.
Yeah.
You should be quite impressed with it.
Not too far away from me, Bognor.
No.
It's relatively just down the road, actually.
Yeah.
Not that I'd want to admit that.
Bognor.
No, it's not too bad, actually. It's all right.
Yeah. I've never been to Bognor.
No, you don't want to either.
No, you're not missing a great deal.
It's all right. I mean, it
is all right as a seaside town.
Yeah.
You know,
the actual sea from and everywhere is not too bad. It's got big butlins.
There's no, we don't want to stop people going to Bognor Regis or anything like that.
No, support Bognor.
For your coastal. Have they?
Yeah, they used to. I don't know what it's like now, but reasonably, they've had, in history, they've had a few FA Cup runs, I think.
Yeah, that was today's right, FA Cup final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, sorry, yesterday.
Yesterday,
yeah.
Leicester, wasn't it? Leicester won 1-0.
Yeah, good goal as well. So I saw a trailer for Edgar Wright's new movie.
All right.
This might have passed you by. It might have done.
As in Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright.
And he's done a documentary on Sparks, being the Mel Brothers. This comes out in June, and I've not picked up the latest album yet, and there were the backing tracks. Some of them were from the new album. I thought I do like the sound of that, so I went onto eBay to find a copy and ordered it. But yeah, looking on Internet Movie Database, this could be quite good. From my point of view, Sparks are a band that I followed from the 70s. As I say, last year they were even in Roller Coaster the movie, so they've done their bit. As they say, they are an American band, so from this side of the shore, maybe not too many people know too much about them. But I think Edgar Wright is probably a good choice for that. It'll be interesting to see how the documentary comes out. So that's not until June, unfortunately, so a little way off. The other thing I did was I've been after, where I've had Dark Knight Rises on a soundtrack, I've not had the original two. The second one was a bit hard to come by. You go search for it on eBay and it's 70, 80 quid or something stupid because they're just not available. But a few just turned up on Amazon the other day, so I was able to pick it up at a reasonable price along with the first one, which was Batman Returns. So yeah, pretty good. I was really chuffed to get that trilogy done. Other than that, not a lot. I say I pre-ordered Mass Effect a few days before. Play started that at midnight. Very much impressed. I'm sure Haydn will be doing the gloating on that later, and I'll just chip my penny's worth in on that. Other than that, not a lot else. I haven't really watched any movies this week either. It's been a bit of a quiet week, personally.
For all of us, I think.
But it's been a long week with work anyway. But
it's amazing how quickly time goes on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You know, you sort of look forward to the weekend, and then you blink and it's over now, and you've got another week of it. You know, but it's all countdown for my daughter's wedding in 3 weekends' time. So
is that 30 people?
Yes.
You're restricted,
you are restricted. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Cheap.
Well, it's both.
Cheaper, anyway.
Could you not cheat and have 30 inside and 30 outside?
I don't know. I mean, there's rules and regulations of the hotels, and there.
Yeah.
Where we're doing it. So, but yeah, I look forward to that. And then I got another text from one of my boys. He's getting married in September. So yeah, so I've got a couple of weddings this year to go to.
I haven't been to a good wedding for years.
Oh, yeah. The last one was a little while ago. But okay. So should we swiftly move on to gaming this week?
Yeah.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, Haydn, any news or no news?
I've got the new releases and the news the wrong way around, but we've got loads of news. So first off, Microsoft obviously celebrating the Xbox dashboard to celebrate 20 years of Xbox, which is it a free download? I haven't actually gone for this yet. I'm not even sure where it is on the dashboard.
I've got it on my
No, that's
my
what I was
background.
wondering.
So this is something that PlayStation have done for quite a while. They've had interactive backgrounds, haven't they?
Yeah.
So this is, I think, the first time they've really done a proper one as such. So
Did you find that in settings?
Yeah, if you went to your settings for your Xbox and go to your the
Personalization.
Yeah, so for us on the new Xbox, you've got one there for active images and pieces, stuff like that, and it's in there. And it's part of what the advert was. If you remember back in the day when you had that green goo sort of moving in like a little ball spinning around, and that's what you get with the image behind me. That you probably can't make out too well, but 20 years, and so we got a few deals coming on then with Xbox for this.
Wow.
Anyone notice anything worth picking up?
Let me have a look.
Obviously, this will coincide with the release of the new Halo in November now this year, wouldn't it? The 28th.
Yeah, I mean Halo is. I mean, a lot of them, because some of them are not original Xbox games, but Microsoft published games. Quite a few of them are Game Pass.
Yeah.
Or at least some of them. But you've got Mass Effect in there. It doesn't seem to be particularly a sale rather than just a highlight. Some of them are reduced, but not all of them.
And they're reduced in Game Pass anyway, to a certain degree. So
yeah, reducing it in number of games. You mean
price? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're on Game Pass, you do get a reduced purchase a game that.
Yeah, you do.
Go.
Same with EA Play, isn't it? As well as it used to be.
That's still in there, even though when you used to have EA, the pass for that, you used to get discount.
Yeah.
But you still have that discount because it's based within that ecosystem now, isn't it?
Yeah. There's Fable. There's a lot of it is now things that are or have been in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Fable,
the Bethesda games are there.
Yeah.
All the Gears, Halos.
I'd like to see some of the older games, some of the original games that came out. Some of my favourites like Link. So I'd love to have seen that maybe given a bit of a spruce up again. That was one of my favourite golf games. That was.
How about we have Fable with a remaster?
We did, yeah.
You got Jade Empire. Do you remember that? The original Xbox game. That's in there.
I'd say the original ones I remember was like Topspin. The titles like Topspin and and Links.
Rock Band 4 is in there.
You got the peripherals to play it.
Well, yeah, if they work. Nothing particularly stands out. Medium, that's quite new, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was a game that had a patented system of one character existing in two worlds at the same time.
Right, yeah. Did you complete it, Haydn?
Yeah, I've played that. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through it, I think.
But it's not, as a store highlight, it probably won't set your world alight.
I mean, the dashboard setup. I mean, to give you that, there's a few PC downloads you can do as well for screenshots and wallpapers as well, stuff like that. I've been yeah, the celebration won't really kick off for me, I think, until when that Halo game comes out, which I think will be the main part of the anniversary for it.
Mm.
That'll be straight on to Game Pass.
Yeah. Is that? I was going to say, is that going to be would that have been a pre-order for you?
Probably would have been, yeah.
Yeah, same here. I've played all the Halo games. I really quite enjoyed them, but not overly recently. But
I sometimes need to go back onto the Master Chief Collection and give that a bit of a spin every now and then.
Big updates on that, though. That's the thing. Every time if you kind of boot it up once every few months, it will be gigabytes and gigabytes of update.
No, I had an update for Forza Horizon today.
For Forza
4.
Horizon 4. Yeah, that's another one I haven't booted up for maybe a couple of months.
Yeah, I did that just to show my colleague, but it still looks lovely, and it's it's just be interesting to see if we're going to get the next Forza game come out this year, maybe.
Be back on the tracks though, won't it? I would hope.
Yeah, because I missed that.
Yeah, I quite like the Horizons, but the track games I think are better generally.
So what else we got then, Haydn, news-wise?
Okay, so Sony-wise, we've got Sony's acknowledging that the PS5 problems are probably going to be going on into 2022.
The stock issues, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just scalper's paradise at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I saw, as I said, that there were some tweets, again, for more Xboxes at game, so they were coming out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen tweets for PlayStation yet, though.
There have been a couple this week, but not at game. Was it Zargos or John Lewis or somewhere where...
I think there was an Argos drop,
Yeah.
I'm checking them about once or twice a day, but it tends to be when I finish work, and by that stage, even if they did have stock, I've probably missed the boat.
Yeah, you probably have by then.
You might want to just tweet game or something and just ask them and say, well, as much as they're coming into stores, will you be able to can you do an online order? Just ask them the question. Sure, somebody get back to you.
I might do that. Yeah, I might do that.
Or actually ring them up. I'm sure the stores will be open if you've got your local one in your vicinity.
Yeah. Sony is saying there's 25 titles in development for the PS4, of which half are new IPs.
No Final Fantasy.
That seems an odd decision to me, though, really. I mean,
so there's a lot of titles. I mean, some will be... I mean, not everyone's going to be outstanding, maybe, but, there'll be some smaller type games in there, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe, and they're linked, aren't
Is there
they?
is there
stock
anything
issues means not a lot of people, not as many people have got PS5s yet.
No. Is there any sort of games in the background that anyone knows about for the PlayStation that's going to be worth playing at all? Or
I think it's all upcoming sort of stuff that's going to be released. Cause a lot of this is background stuff that we don't see.
Yeah.
This is just what they're saying. They're just saying, we've got loads of games coming and consoles at some point as well.
Yeah, before the console.
Yeah. I think a lot of these games that are in development now, I don't think that we're going to really see them until they get their act together with the consoles.
See, again, this is the thing. You don't want to start dripping these titles yet, or this is what we're going to be getting, because until they're really ready and say, look, this is what we got for you, and then bang, they're in,
Yeah, and this generation war of, between Xbox and PlayStation might be won by default by Microsoft if they supply the consoles.
Yeah, it's who can ever get back on the shelves the quickest, isn't it?
Because let's be honest, we know that the winner of the console war isn't necessarily the one with the best console.
No.
Because nothing beat the Xbox One X in the last generation, to be fair. It was the most powerful console. The Pro was brilliant, but it wasn't quite up to the Xbox One X. The PS5's not the most powerful out of the two this time round, but I would rather them have like an equal playing field in terms of competition, so that they were both getting the consoles out to everybody who needed them, so that the winner was the winner because they produced the best overall package, which would include things like Game Pass and the games that are available on the system, and PlayStation Plus and now TV, and all of those things that the extras that go with your consoles now, because you don't just buy your console. It's not the 1970s or 80s, I should say, or the 90s, where you bought a console and that was it. Nowadays it relies on everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
there was some news announcement about the new red and black controllers for the DualSense. Now, I love the look of the red one.
Mm.
I don't like the black one that much. I like the white version as it is, but I did like the red one because it's sort of like a bit of a deeper red, isn't it? It's not like the PlayStation 4 red controller.
It's not a surprise, but the colour is better than than the PlayStation 4, like you say.
I mean, there's so many versions of all these controllers now with different colours you can get. I mean, where do you want to go, really? I mean,
yeah, but that's the thing. There's not on PlayStation because there's only 3 varieties.
Yeah, I know you can design your own one with the Xbox. You can go onto their website and just build your own colours and buttons and how you want it to be, which is pretty cool. But I'm surprised PlayStation couldn't do something like that.
Can you still do that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I read somewhere that they'd removed that.
Maybe
I've not checked. But...
Maybe it's not the Series X or S. Maybe it's just
still
the Xbox.
It's just a controller at the end of the day that will connect to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that you just get an Xbox controller now, don't you? You don't get a One or a Series X and S. It's one shared between them.
Yeah.
Because there's been no other than an extra button for snapshots. There's been no innovation on the controller.
Is the D-pad not upgraded at all?
Yeah, but it was just taking the Elite D-pad, more or less, but a plastic version of it and sticking it on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think that there's been any changes at all on the controller between the two generations.
If it ain't broke.
No, but I think coming from the PS5 sort of point of view, with not only the inbuilt mic, speaker and trackpad, but also the haptic feedback.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot more innovation.
Yeah.
It is still there. You can see Steve fiddling on with it on the camera right now.
Yeah, so you got there.
I must admit, when I read it, I thought that there must have that couldn't have been right because it just seems to be a cash cow for them to get all that personalisation on a controller.
Yeah, well, I think it's a nice idea that you can personalise something that you feel happy with the colours.
Yeah, well, my son's got a personalised one.
Yeah, I mean, I bought I've got a wireless one that I bought, which is a sky blue one. But obviously these you could put your gamer tag on them, can't you, and stuff like that originally. So it's funny. It just says they're free minus 100%, but I don't think that means it's free. I mean, you can design it for nothing.
Yeah,
sort of thing,
it's when you buy it, it's then about 70 quid, isn't it? Something like that.
So yeah.
The other bit of news from Sony was the fact that PSVR 2, a little bit more about the specs, is released. It's evidently going to have 4000 by 2040 resolution. It's going to have a lens adjustment dial, gaze tracking, and the headset itself may have haptic feedback.
Be odd on the head, I reckon.
Yeah.
Well, you'd want it like in Ready Player One, where you had the bodysuit. That's how you want it.
Yeah.
Just imagine if it had like haptic feedback. So if you got hit in the face, you got the same level of punch.
Yeah. This bit of kit comes with a warning.
Yeah. May cause brain damage. Ubisoft's also there was an article saying that Ubisoft were abandoning AAA games. Going to a more budget, free-to-play and sort of experimental model. And people questioning, does that mean the end of things like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry or whatever? Evidently not. They're still going to be producing the AAA games, so don't worry about that. Also, in terms of Ubisoft have released this week the Valhalla Wrath of the Druids DLC as well. So that's my bits of news there. Mark, did you have some?
Yeah, you're not going to do the HTC Vive.
Oh, well, so yeah, I forgot about the HTC Vive. The Vive Focus 3 is evidently going to be is in development, and it's going to be a high-end VR and will cost $1,300.
It's always been the top-end headset, though, hasn't it?
It has. It's just that is an ouch, though.
Yeah. Just as I put in because it's around the corner. E3 is running June the 12th to June the 15th, online only, obviously now.
I think in a month it'll be done.
Yeah, I know. And Bethesda will be I think it's thought that Bethesda will be within the Microsoft announcements. So there may be rumoured a Elder Scrolls 6 news, which I'm very much hoping for. But
I've got a funny feeling you're going to be let down because I think Starfield will be first before that.
Well, they're saying Starfield is released before that.
Yeah.
There also, one article I was reading was saying that it's going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Well,
I'm not sure about that.
No, me neither. I don't think they'll shoot themselves in the foot like that.
Or they might leave it like that for 8 or 9 months and maybe let it up.
Maybe timed. Yeah, timed exclusive.
But they want to make money out of it. But then again, if they say it's on Game Pass,
which it would be.
Yeah, people will say, "Oh, do you know what? I might pick an Xbox up, get the S."
Very much so. Yeah, why not?
Play it.
Yeah, so that's E3, June the 12th to June the 15th. I don't know whether the actual schedule's out yet. Do you know, guys? I'm not sure. I've not seen it.
I think it's just after. Say it's normally around my birthday, around the 9th.
Whether they release that? Release the schedule.
I'm just looking on there at the moment. Actually, doesn't really say, but I thought they were sort of set in stone by now.
Yeah, you'd think so. Right. So also Nintendo Switch sales. Something I was quite surprised to hear, but Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa has said that the sales of the Switch during 2020 were approximately 20% to homes that already owned one. So that means they sold 28 million units. I'm assuming this is globally. And which would equate to nearly 6 million sold to multiple systems, families that already owned a Nintendo Switch.
Other than my household, nearly every household in the world's got a Switch, haven't they?
Well,
are they still?
We've only got one though.
Yeah, Steve, you go for Switch emulators with your mobile phone and the Xbox controller on each side.
You botched emulators.
Yeah. So I'm not the only one in that camp, so I know that. So don't worry.
Anyway, it's all just for kids.
Exactly, yeah.
And there goes the other half of my audience.
Well, that's Steve later. That, not me. And
it's not just for kids, and it's not just for pets. It's not even just for Christmas. It's all year round.
Absolutely. Activision their enforcement operation on Call of Duty Warzone to ban cheaters and fraudulent accounts. Since Warzone's release, I thought this was mental. The amount of accounts they've banned passed a milestone. How many do you reckon it was? That's why I didn't put it in the notes.
Yeah, no, it's got the question mark in the way.
Yeah, I know how many.
We'll have to scratch it to see it.
I would say over 1 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you'd be wrong. It was 500,000. Past 500,000 accounts they've banned. I mean, I'm guessing some of them are, bots and stuff, but just trying to scam people, I guess. But crazy. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So just going back to E3, it's June 12th to the 15th.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I don't know whether they've released the timetables. That's what I meant.
Bethesda's normally always the first one. And I think they're still going to have their own separate one to Microsoft, as in because they would have the time and effort for what they want to show.
I mean, it's online, so it's not going to cost them.
It's a long time of night for us when that one happens. Normally, it's normally middle of the night when we're asleep, and I have to get up early to zip through it quickly to see whether the latest new Fallout game's coming out. Where there's apparently been rumours of a new Fallout game. Have you heard about this?
No.
Fallout 5, maybe. I mean, who knows?
Possible. I think surely they'll do Elder Scrolls first, Starfield, and then Elder Scrolls. I would have thought.
Yeah, but then again, they could have 2 teams working on all these, 2 or 3 teams working.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
I'm sure there'll probably be a Wolfenstein somewhere in there as well, and a Prey.
That's Machinima, though, isn't it? Machinima Games, is they called, I believe. That's just Bethesda published, isn't it?
Because it's funny, even though we think about like when Fallout 4 came out, and obviously they were working on the online version, they seem to we don't think about it. They've already finished the game. They're waiting to release it. They're already starting another game at that time.
Yeah.
So they've done their bit with Fallout 4, for example. And if they're going to be on something else straight away, or
Well, the thing is, game development takes years.
it does.
Yeah. Certainly of the level of your Elder Scrolls or Fallouts or even things like Mass Effect and that kind of thing, you know.
So yeah.
Very
I mean, I'm all for a Fallout 5. Tell me that.
I'd pick it up. Definitely. It'll probably be on Game Pass anyway.
It will be. Yeah.
Hayden will love it.
Of course you will. He loves getting stuck in walls and wobbling about like a.
Yeah,
Seeing
absolutely love it.
Your guns floating around the environment.
Yeah,
We call it
flying upside down, flying backwards, dragons. Yeah, brilliant, fantastic.
What was that you showed me, Hayden? Was it someone on the PC version of Resident Evil, the latest one, was slapping that girl's back?
Yeah, that was a mod.
Yeah.
That was a mod that they'd done. I thought you would find it particularly amusing.
Yeah, I mean,
the big bad evil woman, and someone's modded it, so they've got a fly swat, and they keep smacking her on the backside.
People have too much time on their hands.
Well, that's the PC community for you, isn't it? They always do weird stuff like that. Just we were talking before we started the show, before Steve came on, just about those Switch sales. I was thinking that some of those will be multiple, like 2 kids, stuff like that.
Yeah, possibly.
But I wonder how many of those are actually people who have done things like bought it originally and then sold it because there was a little bit of a supply problem with them at first, wasn't there?
The game
doing scalping.
Yeah, maybe. And then bought another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Well, it's not. I wouldn't advocate scalping, but
it happens in any type of product, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. Anything where there's short supply, high demand, short supply.
Or they call it rare in brackets, or it's see a lot of that when I'm looking at vinyl buggers.
Yeah, I bet.
It's just a consumer market, isn't it? At the end of the day, people will pay what people will pay.
Whether it's trainers or whatever, if there's a new design trainers and it sells out, and some scalpers have picked them up, they're going to flog them at an inflated rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Subscription games?
Yeah, so we've only got one this week, and that's for Epic. And in terms of this, there is The Lion's Song, which is available right now. And then after that, it's a mystery games, which normally means that they're going to do a decent sort of AAA one most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Sweet. Do you want to do, as you go back in time on the sheet, do you want to go and do new titles?
Yeah, so new titles we have from on the 18th, we've got Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice on the PS4, Xbox One.
How can you title it something like that?
It's Leisure Suit Larry. Why do you expect it?
Yeah.
It's not,
True. He hasn't changed his ways.
No, definitely
No,
not.
just his underpants.
I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah. On the 19th, we've got Aerial Night Never Yield on PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch, and Days Gone on the PC. On the 20th, we have Just Die Already on the PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch. And then on the 21st, we got Metopia on the Switch, Knockout City on PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch, and Rust on PC and Xbox One.
Thanks.
Fair enough.
So I was reading something you said down. I don't know why I put LC down there, but never mind. OCD of Haydn pops in. Hang on a minute. Okay, so we'll move on to our games then. So, are we all going to start, Aid? Are you going to roll it up?
Should I start then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so...
As it's the biggest release of the year, probably, as far as you're concerned.
Well, I think
it's go on your Mass Effect stories.
Yeah, I think as far as we're concerned, it's probably the biggest release so far this year. Steve, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil just behind it, probably to a certain degree.
Yeah. So I've been playing this on both PC and PS5. The story of Mass Effect, if you've not played it, I can't see it's going to be of any interest to you now anyway. I don't think everybody else knows what the story is. It's about Shepard, who's a member of the sort of like space military, who becomes a Spectre which is a sort of like secret agent working for the council that looks after the Citadel, where there's lots and lots of different alien races, and he investigates occurrence on New Eden, which leads to him being given visions of what's going to happen in the future, about aliens that are going, sort of like cybernetic organisms that are going to kill all of the spacefaring races in the galaxy in the next sort of like few years, and it's your mission over 3 games to stop that happening. So that's the basic story of Mass Effect. Hasn't changed in any way, shape or form. However, what has changed is all of the visuals in this game. So I don't know about you, Steve, what your memory's like on the original Mass Effect and how some of those sort of things looked, but I definitely did notice the difference in sort of like the volumetric lighting and all of that sort of stuff that's made.
I have watched quite a few videos of comparisons.
Yeah.
Showing you, I think there was one that EA pushed out that everyone was sort of watching, where they were showing you different scenes and blending it in and out between the two, telling you how what the difference is with the skin tone and the lighting, as you say. But pretty impressed, I must admit.
I mean, it looks fantastic. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know whether or not this is because on my PC, because I play 3 screens, I sort of like play 3K, as it were, because, but it's horizontal, so my actual height of screen is 1080p, but I've got 3 screens width. But in terms of how that looks on like 1080p sort of resolution on my PC, I didn't think it looked as good as a remaster as when I played it on the PS5 on the TV, which is really weird.
How did you find that? Because the PC, you would have thought you could up that to what you want, surely. To
well, yeah. I mean, I could have plugged in my PC into my TV and played it that way, and I'm sure it probably have looked every bit as good. But when it's scaled to 1080p, it's obvious that the game's been more optimized for a higher resolution, because it didn't look as good as I was expecting it to. But as soon as I played the PlayStation version of it,
eyes popped out.
It's just like pop, yeah. And I mean, in terms of PlayStation version runs at, I think, 60 frames a second. I think if you've got the right sort of TV, your Xbox Series X will run at 120 frames a second. If you're on PC, it's only 240 frames a second, Master Race and all of that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's great because now I've got eyes rolling in stereo.
Thing is, though, as much as we may joke about this, I mean, from what my eyes visually see when I'm looking on this screen here, it's way above what I'm used to. Yeah. So, you're looking on monitors that are smaller as well, depending on, big monitors, obviously, but from the size of your screen, whether it's 50, 60-inch TVs or whatever you're using, for that sort of size screen to have that amount of colour, depth and clarity, I think, everyone's happy, really. I think that we'll wear glasses anyway, but I do take them off when I'm gaming because I don't need them for that.
I think that the bigger game changer in it is actually the frames per second. Yeah. Because it just makes everything so much more smoother in terms of, movement. And it looks absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I've already played Mass Effect 1, and that's going to be, 36 hours plus to complete. And I'm about probably 4 or 5 hours in so far.
Where have you got? So, I mean, Mark won't know much about the story as he's not really in there. How far have you got? Because
I've got to the same point on both versions, so I've played it. I've played the same bit twice to try and get that idea running the different versions. What they're like.
Where are you up to?
I'm in the Citadel.
Mm-hmm. For the first time.
Yeah.
You see, you might have to refresh my memory. I mean, I've been there and I've been out.
Yeah.
And I've gone to one star system looking for an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Rightly. Now, I thought I better come back because when you're made up to be a Spectre, you can do some training, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Which I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
So I've now come back from that system to try and find out where that training is on the Citadel, and I can't remember if I have the money. Is that in CSEC?
I would have thought it was in CSEC if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
But so CSEC is Citadel Security. That's one of the locations in the Citadel. It's basically a massive space station that is miles and miles long. But you only see a very small part of it, and you see a different part of it in Mass Effect 2 and 3.
It's funny. If that game was made today from fresh, it'd be much more busier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can tell...
It's but great as it looks, I think it won't look better until we get into the second one, because this one is so old now. You can't, fill it to be more busy. There's, a handful of people running around all the time. It's not, you think it'd be more busier than that.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is that it is Mass Effect. What year was Mass Effect released in? 2000 and something, 6, 7, something like that, wasn't it? And that is a really, it's an age ago in terms of gaming, and just trying to, it's not the same as modern games. No. It doesn't play the same, but what they've done is that they've done updates to the game, so they've tried to modernize elements of it. So for example, on the original Mass Effect, you had the heating of the guns. That effect is still there, but what on the original Mass Effect, you couldn't be, if you were a certain class, you couldn't use a sniper gun, which is absolutely stupid. Whereas now you can use a sniper weapon on whatever skill that you're on. If you start the game, did you start the game and just go straight through defaults?
No, so I'm just in the settings at the minute because I thought I'd just run through a bit of it. So what I decided to do was I turned off motion blur and film grain to start with, and I've gone for the favour of quality, which I think is about right for this box anyway.
Yeah.
So I decided to go there. If I go to, I think there's nothing really in I just calibrated it just to suit what it needed. That was pretty straightforward. So controls are on default anyway. That's no problem. It's gameplay is the big one, isn't it?
Mm.
So for now, I've got combat on the normal level. I've left it of standard. Also, now this was weird. I thought, what should I do? So I've gone for auto level up with the squad and the player. Now you can actually, while in the game, take that out and move it around. So if you want to place the
I went completely manual on that because I'd want more control over how it levels up, because I do know the one thing that you want to invest in most of the time, unless there's a specific perk that you're after, is that you want the cooldown time to be reduced on your supers.
So if I turn it to off, then best way. What about legendary mode? Did you put that in there?
That's the new version, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I did.
I'm playing on a new version because they've tweaked the controls to make them more compatible with...
Not like Gears tried not to do it, because they didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
original Mass Effect was 2007, by the way, it was released. So it's a 14-year-old game. In terms of the game, what I found is on PC, the keyboard bindings on PC were just awful. But on the PlayStation, it works quite nicely. But it's things like the space bar has two different functions. It's for you have to hold the space bar for running, and also it's your selection button or something as well when you're playing on PC with keyboard bindings, and I don't like that at all. Even though it's the same on a PlayStation controller where it's the X, or on an Xbox it'd be the A to to sprint or to activate something. I don't like that. It's two completely incompatible things on one button, and it's just doesn't work.
It's funny because I've just looked at. I've gone for FemChat, by the way.
I knew you would.
Yeah, and I decided to give her a name, so I called her Samantha. I thought Samantha Shepherd sort of rings a bit with that for a name. So that's we've gone for the standard look. I didn't go and start tweaking it, so I just called it Samantha. And at the moment, I'm pretty much level with Paragon and Renegade at the moment. Although I have been a bit harsh a couple of times, and they did give me a bit of a glare when I slapped this bloke around the chops. You know, we can all be nice tonight.
I think I did that as well, actually.
And there's a guy, when you first go into the Citadel after you're the Spectre, there's an Asian guy who said his wife's been left on the planet and he wants her home so he can give her a burial. And I was all harsh about that and said, no, they're weapon testing on that body. Sorry, this is the way it is, mate. You have to suck it up.
Yeah.
And then one of the team said, are you sure you want to do it that way? And he said, shut up, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, you have the Paragon and Renegade level on there, don't you? And there there was on the previous version an achievement tied to whether or not you got Paragon or Renegade. You have to get one or the other, so you have to sort of like make your mind up about what way that you want to play the game.
Yeah, and I will probably have to put a lot of points in Charm as well, so I normally do for that side of the scenario.
Well, in terms of, if you go on to your character level up where you've got the little boxes.
I'm in there now at the moment.
Right, okay, so on that screen, there is ones, because you get awarded so many points per level.
Yeah.
And then you fill in the little boxes to level up your character.
Yeah.
So what you want to do to open up all your dialogue options is to invest in those as well.
Yeah, the same as I did when I was replaying Fallout. I was going to get all the dialogue open so I could actually change it a bit quicker on the way I'm charming them to be that,
Yeah,
so,
it gives more options for you in terms of everything.
So considering where I am at the moment, I did go out and come back again. So I was about to leave the Citadel. So I'm on level 4 at the moment from that point. But seeing how the points have been stuck, I mean, that's fine, they can stay there, but I would just be putting more points on Charm and Intimidate just because I'm going to be a hard-nosed bitch.
Yeah. So, but you haven't customised the character in any way other than the name, have you?
No, I decided to give her the look that she had as a default look for Samantha.
Right.
For the femme chapter.
And what about the backstory? Did you keep the same backstory or did you change that? And what about your biotics? Because there's two different ways of doing it. Because when you first launch, you can either say, right, I'll have John Shepherd or I'll have whatever it is Shepherd.
Yeah, I decided to have femme chapter before.
Yeah. And if you do that, what that does is it locks you into the choices that are already made for Shepherd.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's female or male.
That's right.
In terms of your earthborn, you lived on the streets, all of that sort of stuff. And also you get locked into the soldier biotics.
That's right, yeah.
Whereas if you go into the customize, which was the third option, you can still keep the same look.
But can't you be an alien though, can't you? Or
not? No, you can only be either male or female human. Because Shepherd is a human, but what you can do is you can change your biotics. So on a PlayStation, I'm playing as a soldier, the same as you, but the male version of Shepherd. But on PC rather. But on my PlayStation, I'm playing as an adept, which gives me the void and throne stuff like that as your powers. So you won't get those powers on that character because it was in Andromeda that they then changed it so you could change your class.
They did, yeah, that's right.
But on 1 to 3 of this, and I can see Mark's eyes starting to roll in terms of falling asleep here.
He's nodding off. Look, can you see that? Look.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. It's good listening.
Haptic feedback on his mouse, just but in terms of your character, if you go into the third option, then you can change the class, and there's like Vanguard, Engineer, and different ones in there as well. Yeah. So on my PlayStation 1, I've gone Adept.
See, whether or not when I've gone through this, because I didn't think, did the original Mass Effect let you have a woman in the first one? It did, didn't it?
Yeah, you could have FemShep, yeah.
But obviously, that as we know from playing the game of old, that this character and the same will carry on. So however it ends up with your character doing what it does, that will roll into number 2, and so on and so forth. Whether or not I will go and play it, a complete different type of character, then maybe I'd yeah, maybe I will do. Maybe I should do another game save and start again. I don't know if you can do that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, sure you can go for a new save. But I'm playing it in two slightly different ways because I wanted to see what the difference is. And you do actually get different dialogue, particularly right at the very beginning, where it's got the captain who's talking about you, and he's on my second one was like a spacer, and it never settled on any planet, and whereas when you first start off it says he's earthborn and blah blah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so when he or she is staring out to space in the ship at the time. Yeah,
and what I would also say is, if you want to see what the footage is like, obviously there's loads of YouTube videos, but there's also about an hour and a half of gameplay on the Pop Culture Gamers YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be putting on PlayStation version as well as PC on there, so you can see. But for me, this is going to be playing it. I'm going to be in and out of this game now for probably the rest of this year, because I'm not going to rush it. This is a video game version of a fine wine.
Oh God, yeah. And I know we'll have to convince Mark to purchase it.
All right, I'll give it a go. I downloaded FIFA 21 this week, Steve.
Oh, you did?
I haven't even booted it up yet.
Well, don't worry.
Mark, that is literally not in the same league.
No, I understand that.
That works on so many levels.
But honestly, if you like science fiction and what science fiction is all about, this will blow your socks off, to be honest.
I did play it back in the day.
Some of the cutscenes are just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
And even better now as well. Watching that first cut at the beginning when the Normandy's there, I'm thinking, oh my God, and it's just, it's awesome.
It's the Star Wars of video games.
Yeah.
Like the original
Star Wars has never had the game like this. Just put it that way. Star Wars would never get a game like this. It's
Coda.
But that's so old now. But this is not as old as that.
But it is a fantastic game, and to have all three, and I know that they're up to 14-year-old games, but to have all three of them in one package is just brilliant.
Yeah,
that's what makes it worth its price. It may seem a bit steep.
Yeah. I would say it's not worth that amount for the first one alone, because the first one has aged in itself, but the story hasn't aged.
And if you were to purchase these individually, it would probably cost you more, wouldn't it, if they were to try that?
Yeah, definitely.
If you were to say they were 30 a game.
Yeah. I mean, on PC, you could mod the originals to be something close, but why go through all of that hassle?
Yeah. Well, people still like to mod things anyway, but that's but
that's PC community.
That's it. But from the point of this game is, if anyone's got any doubt about getting this, they shouldn't have a doubt, to be honest.
No.
It's such a good game.
All three.
Yeah, and I think I say from playing of old, number 2 was my favourite at the time. I think that really where it got to.
Well,
I think that's where it hit its peak in terms of kind of public attention and sales as well, I think.
But I think also that's why it falls into it is in every way the video gaming version of the original Star Wars trilogy, because the first one was it refreshed the whole genre. The second one was technically the best, and the third one was a poor sequel.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same as the original Star Wars trilogy, because let's face it,
and they do blend into each other. There is no cut-off point theoretically. It's stop-start, isn't it? To a certain degree. It literally is.
Yeah.
It's one story.
And I seriously think that they need to bring back Shepard.
Well, there's a video, isn't there, that BioWare released saying Mass Effect isn't done with yet. So we are going to see another Mass Effect game at some point.
Yeah.
But whether or not I'll still play Andromeda will be another ball game. Maybe I might go back to that after this.
I think by the time you finish this, you'll probably be Mass Effected out.
Yeah, it will be because it's tough.
You're talking 120 hours content to complete it, and that's just complete the game.
And also,
that's not do everything.
And Mark, there's actually 40 pieces of DLC in this as well.
So value for money, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
There's only one piece of DLC that's not in, and that is because they lost the original source code for it.
Yeah, apparently it was a bit of a bad.
You'd have thought someone would have been able to decompile the compiled code.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got my original Mass Effect disc in the other room. Yeah, it's a little bit of history going to be sitting there. Well, it won't never get played because it won't be used, but
yeah. So
yeah, really, really good game.
Other than that, the only other game I've been playing this week really has been Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've been playing it on the PS4, but I don't really want to talk about that tonight.
So, just a little bit of brief, so a very small bit of Destiny then, and you can chime in if you feel. So season 14
as well, I forgot.
So season of the Splicer started on Tuesday. Again, we'll have new content, weapons and armor. The raid is going to be the Vault of Glass. That comes back on the 22nd of May. And the weapon that you got from that is coming back as well. Which I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'm not going to go into the menus, but I do remember did you play the Vault of Glass with me, Haydn, at all?
We completed the Vault of Glass several times because if you remember, we were always hanging around waiting for you to do those jumps at the end.
But the funny thing is, though, when I played the Vault of Glass the first time, I got the main weapon on the first hit. Again, the Bungie Steve-O scenario that I used to have. I'll come back again probably.
What do you mean that you used to have that you still get, Steve?
Well, I'm not doing too bad. So the new content's pretty cool. You're with the splicers. Some of this stuff you're in, it looks like out of Tron. I think that's my only way of explaining what the world looks like when you go into these sort of warped areas. But the sticky part of this, and there's been a lot of controversy with the community, is the armor synthesis system. I don't know if you know about this, Haydn. Basically, it's a transmog of any armor and sort of the colours that you've got with your shades and stuff like that. Right. And you have to use a system to do that, where it's a bit long-winded and it takes a while to build up the not the coins as such, but what you have to use to spend to do this. Where I think it's not a bad idea because you can then look like whatever you want to look like. Because anything you've owned in Destiny will be able to be used as your armor, and also then shaders as well, just to give that look that you want. I mean, transmogging Diablo has always been a thing, isn't it? So, but yeah, I just going through the story with that part of it as well. I'm really back into it at the moment. I've been given Destiny a bit of a wide berth over the last few weeks with other games, and yeah, I've just been running it and just getting into it again with the new story and how this game mechanics work. So I'm really enjoying it. So you didn't do the last season much, did you? The season before that?
No.
So you got the Helm as another area to go to, where you for the season of the Splicer, where we had the stuff before that. And it's a second. Yeah. It's It's not really a play space, but it's a place where you go to pick up your bounties and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not much need to be said. Destiny's Destiny really, and another season rocks on, and some nice new weapons. And to say, the Hung Jury for me was one of my favourite weapons from D1, which is coming back. Hopefully, I think it's next week. Going to be in the Nightfall drop. So come Tuesday next week, I'll be running the Nightfall numerous times to get this. But we need to do a threesome so we could go and try maybe one of the higher tier levels of that. There's 4 tiers, but obviously the first 2 you can do in teams, which you could just join. So the bigger drops.
I'm way low on my Destiny levels now because obviously just not really played it that much.
What character level have you got at the moment?
Just having a look.
So yeah, I'm up to 13, 15 at the moment with mine. And yeah, I do get the season complete with the mechanics for getting from 1 to 100.
Yeah,
which is the old Fortnite way of doing it. So, and you say it's not a thing for you, Mark, is it? Destiny? It's not a thing you really.
I just checked on my Xbox actually, and then realised that all my kind of play of it so far was on the gamer tag that now my son has. So on Kitchen Smith on this Xbox, it just shows 0. But I've played it. I've got a good few planets into it, and I played the original one as well.
Yeah, I remember us going on it actually.
Yeah, that's right.
We had some time on it, didn't we?
Quite a few years ago now. But yeah, I mean, I don't dislike it. I quite like Bungie, and I quite like FPSs, but it hasn't hooked me. I mean, I've booted up Halo far more recently than I've booted up the Master Chief Collection. I mean, far more recently than Destiny.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was just maybe the layout of Halo against Destiny. I don't know, that the hub world and that kind of thing. Maybe I preferred that. I preferred Halo's more kind of mission based.
It's much more linear progression in Halo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you can do it. You can either go multiplayer or you can just be solo, running around, depending what you want to do with Destiny.
I think the thing is with Halo is that the universe is so inconsistent, because when I first played Halo, I remember it said you were the last of the Spartans, and then suddenly later on, 3 games later, there's another guy who's unconscious in the pod next to you, and then also, in the 5th one, there's squads of you. So how did that work?
Yeah.
My hunter on Destiny, which is my highest character, is 12-16.
So you're 100 out roughly to me at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
but then
I've
again,
only just started playing it, so that I'd probably catch that up to be about 115 or so within a few hours.
I don't think it would take long, because swapping and changing with what you get on the season, I think you can bump it up a bit, because my other character's a bit lower, but I always bump it up by, once I've opened up the season from 1 to 100, I just start taking other stuff on from the other point of view from each other character and just dumping it on them, and it bumps them up to a nice size. And also by giving them, if I got duplicate weapons at 13, I'll throw one across to them, and it will just build up that character that way pretty quickly. So in that sort of term, now I'm just trying to remember if I can find out if I look on here. So, was it an auto rifle, that weapon? I'm just trying to. Or was it a fusion rifle? I was just trying to have a look for the weapon that you get in Bottle Glass.
Are all of the DLCs on Game Pass for Destiny 2? You've got Beyond Light, Forsaken, and Shadowkeep. Is that all of them? Or is there more than that?
Oh, no, that's it.
Well, there's been 14 seasons now, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know.
So it's 14 different
still need a season pass, but I was just wondering, I could download those and give it a whirl.
Well, I don't mind jumping in at that level.
But like I say, all of my previous history would be on. I'd be starting completely from nothing, because it's on a different game tag now. But hey.
But you would get something to boost you up when you started in. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They do give you a little orb that will give you a boost, so you're not too far behind.
Yeah, I'll have to.
So that's it. It's the Vex Mythoclast. That was the weapon I was thinking of, which had that distinct sound and look of any other gun I remember.
Wasn't that a sniper rifle or something?
I don't know if it was. Is it a sniper rifle? Just trying to say what makes this thing here, but or was it a linear fusion rifle? And that was one of those sniper rifles. No, I can't remember now. I'm sure some people were shouting out as thinking, "Yeah, I don't remember that." Yeah. Anyway, if you ever want to have a little play and come on board, worth a shot. Anyway, so Mark, anything you've been playing this week?
I haven't had a lot of time this week and haven't played a lot, but I've played more MLB. Worked my way. I got drafted up again. I'm now in the minor league, and much probably to your joy, Steve, I think I'm in the feeding system for the Yankees.
Go Yankees! That's what I say.
Which is your team, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So it's not my team, but I think there'll be a possibility of me being able to switch before I get right up into the major league anyway. But
even so feeder class, you suppose if they say there's 3 people giving you the scout.
Yeah, I think there will be a options coming up for me before the season's out. I'm doing reasonably well, so good average on the batting average, and left field playing out in the left field. And I completed Beyond Blue. Now, I totally was hooked by this. And I still might go back to just once you complete the game, you can just go back to any of the scenarios for just kind of free roam diving as much as you want. But it is disappointingly short, actually. It's only about, I think it was 10, it may have been 11 dives, which were kind of their quests. But one or two of them were just probably 5 minutes long. Maximum one was probably about half an hour at the most, 20 minutes, half an hour. So I think my total gameplay on it is just over 4 hours to complete. But that wasn't, I wasn't just rushing through the story. You take your time, you swim around. And I will probably go back to it and just do a bit more diving around with the areas that you explore. It's still a pretty amazing chill out game. It's perfect for just chilling out, switching off if you've had a rough day at work or what have you. Go back, swim around the ocean, looking at fish and whales and turtles. And it is bizarre like that. It sounds a bit naff, but it's actually totally hooked me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool.
But that's what I've been doing this week. Like I said earlier, I downloaded FIFA 21 and haven't even booted it up yet.
Yeah, we've got to get you on the FUT. That's what we put you into.
The thing is, my sports. I did play a bit of PGA this morning. They go
2K.
Yeah, but played that for about an hour this morning. Couple of tournaments. It was still a good game. Still enjoy that.
I played that as well not so long ago.
Yeah, it's great. It is good.
Yeah, I think it's a very good game. Well, they're bringing stuff out on that, like not seasons as such, but there's different content out there, isn't there?
Player upgrades, like in terms only. I think from what I've seen, it's more kind of the clubs and sort of what you can wear, that kind of thing. Different sponsors coming in, different endorsements. I think. Who was it they had? I mentioned on here a few weeks back. Was it Puma came on board?
Oh, okay.
And released a load of stuff into the store. I don't know whether they've added anything recently. Actually, I didn't notice.
They do something. You can you can pay for it other than trying to earn it. Season of some kind. Where I think is it more like clothing and club stuff? Is it or?
I think so. I mean, obviously you would potentially benefit if you upgrade your clubs. But as you're playing through the game, you tend to unlock a lot anyway with sponsorships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also find you either have clubs that it doesn't matter whether you're talking about drivers or pitching wedges or anything in between. You'll either get a longer distance with less control or more control and short distance. I mean, golf games have been that forever.
You've always thought if I've got a good driver and I've got a good putter, that's all I need. Because as long as you can get as far as you can with it, or you turn it in the back, and then maybe one something in between to get it between. If you're gonna. But then my style is different. If that's the way you're playing it, I'm playing it slightly different to that. I'm just saying no. I tend to go for sort of reasonable distance, but I wouldn't necessarily sacrifice distance. No, I mean, if you can get a good distance for getting an extra 20 or 30 yards. I mean, if you can get a good distance of it to do a shortcut rather than par 4 to make it a par 3 or even a par 2, depending on what you're doing. Sometimes, you can drive greens and things like that. But if it meant to get that to use that driver, if it meant you'd only hit 1-2 decent shots every 10, it doesn't really seem worth it. I don't know. It's just different styles, I guess, isn't it? That's all. Well, you're right. You're either like Adam Sandler going for a hole in one every shot. I don't know. Yeah. But that's been me for this week mostly. I don't think I haven't even played any Skyrim, and I don't even think I've broken out Breakpoint this week. Yeah, it's been an elite week. Yeah, I've not even done FIFA this week, to be honest. I did it last week and got a few packs with a few bits and pieces that came through. And but yeah. So.
Yeah, working my way through MLB, that's taking up a lot of my time at the moment. I'm still loving it. Still love the presentation. And
if it ever disappeared, I think I'd still purchase it.
Yeah, same here, definitely, because I was going to anyway. Yeah. Yeah, all good.
Anything else, Haydn?
No, not from me. No.
Okay, so we'll switch it to movies, TVs, and streaming.
In quest of a better life.
Any news, anybody? Because it's a bit blank looking on the screen here.
Well, cinemas are opening. That's pretty big news, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about it, really, isn't it? And the movies are opening to James Corden. So that's the end of the cinema industry.
Sorry, would you like to elaborate?
Peter Rabbit 2.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see them, but I saw
Well, should I go through the releases then? So there's one I want to talk about. So we got Nomadland, we've got Sound of Metal, we've got Spiral, Those Who Wish Me Dead, The Unholy, sounds like horror, Under Gods, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, and Some Kind of Heaven. So anything there float your boat?
Nope.
Me neither, really.
Right, well, there's one there for me, which I've been really waiting for.
I know you love James Corden. It's Peter Rabbit 2.
No, that's just for kids.
That's just for kids.
Yeah, no, that's just for adults. The Switch is just for kids.
So, one of my biggest franchise favourites is Saw, and Spiral, the book of Saw, is out this week with Chris Rock as the head of the cast. I'm really looking forward to this.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
On a Saw movie.
The comedian Chris Rock.
He plays a copper. And watch the trailer and tell what you think, because he seems to be doing it all right. From what I've seen in the trailer, it looks wicked. And depending on how this story pans out, because Jigsaw died in about Saw 3, I think 3 or 4 actually died. But there were other disciples that were carrying out with the traps. So yeah, so looking forward to that film. Really, it's the first film of the year for me. It's coming out. So I didn't know you realised you picked up on that one. I'm surprised. I'd say maybe you're not Saw fans anyway.
No.
And those sort of torture porn movies, as they call them. But they do have stories behind them. And I say the first, I think it might be 6 or 7 movies now that came out. Probably exclude Jigsaw, the film Jigsaw that came out. That was the last one. They all had a purpose and a storyline from the first film to the last one of that set. And with the reveal at the end of who was helping him, and brilliant film. Love it. But, okay, so not a lot there. So anyone would like to do the Blu-ray DVD releases?
Shall I do those?
In black.
Okay, so week beginning May the 17th, we have American Pie Girls Rule on DVD, Animal House 4K Blu-ray, Asteroid Ageddon on DVD, Beavis and Butthead The Complete Collection on DVD, Behind the Mask on Blu-ray and DVD, Big Fish. Is that Ewan McGregor?
That's Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that was one thing. They've started filming Obi-Wan Kenobi now as well, the series.
That's news. Then we have Columbia Noir 3, which is a collection on Blu-ray.
Yeah, misprint in this list. I'm going to say it in a minute. Wait, you've read it. Carry on.
So we've got, in that collection, you've got Johnny O'Clock, The Dark Past, Convicted, Between Midnight and Dawn, The Sniper, and City of Fear. We have The Courage of One on DVD, Fat City on Blu-ray, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the 1982 movie on Blu-ray.
That's Judge Reinhold, isn't it, that one?
It's what? I purchased a digital copy of that film, and I would actually wouldn't mind the actual Blu-ray of that.
There you go. It's released this week.
I'm going to look now as we speak.
Haunting on Fraternity Row on DVD, Intruder on DVD, Jungle Fever on Blu-ray and DVD, Last Action Hero 4K Blu-ray. What a movie. Look at Life Volume 8, People and Places on DVD, Meave on Blu-ray, Masculine Feminine, the 1966 movie collection on Blu-ray, Murdoch Mysteries Series 14 on Blu-ray and DVD, Now, is National Lampoon's Animal House on 4K Blu-ray? That's not the Animal House that I read at the beginning.
It's the same thing.
It is. Right, yeah.
So I don't know why that is.
Okay. So, another great movie. We've got Play for Today Volume 2 on Blu-ray, Purely Belter on DVD, Radio on Blu-ray, Raya and the Last Dragon on Blu-ray 4K and DVD. That's the Disney Pixar movie, isn't it, I believe? The latest one. Yeah,
I think so.
We've got Review Starlight on Blu-ray, Saw on 4K Blu-ray and regular Blu-ray. Sequin in a Blue Room on Blu-ray and DVD. Someone to Watch Over Me. Speed on 4K Blu-ray. I love that movie. It's cheesy, but I love it. It's classic in my eyes. The Child Remains on DVD. The House on Penance Lane on DVD. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, Masters of Cinema edition on Blu-ray. The Sting 4K Blu-ray, and the Twin Peaks A Limited Event series on Blu-ray. Quite a collection there. Speed and Big Fish for me stand out.
Yeah, Saw, I mean, it's a shame actually because there's so many of those movies I would like to see. Have them all released in 4K would be great. I have bought them individually over the time they were released, but I am tempted to get that in 4K. Animal House, that's when it's been in my background for quite a while.
I haven't seen it recently. I'm not sure how well it will have aged, but it's still...
Well, Animal House?
Yeah.
Well, it's set in the 60s, isn't it? So
yeah,
from that point of view, for me, it doesn't have to age in any shape or form.
The humour, though, could be a bit dated. I don't know.
Well, it's like watching the American Pie movies, isn't it? In a way.
True.
Same sort of humour is there. But Fast Times at Richmond Hill, I have just now ordered it for tomorrow. It's one film that probably passed a lot of us by back in the day. When you look at the cast list and you realise where they all started, such as, I say, Judge Reinhold.
Right at the beginning
in the
of
bathroom.
that era.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not going to talk. Mark, we will talk about this after this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and a certain scene at the swimming pool as well, from a certain young lady that was in Gremlins. But anyway.
Yeah. There are some choice moments in that movie. To be fair. And
a lot of them are on GIFs on Twitter as well, if you ever look.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of those teen movies that you've got those days, and just from the cast you got in it, it's brilliant. It really is a good film. Very much to reminisce.
Lead.
Yeah.
With his long blonde hair.
That's it. He's a right old dude in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one is might pass a lot of people by. I would have thought. But yeah, no, there's some interesting choices there. But Criterion Collection, they do some good movies, and unfortunately, because there is a US based version of that as well, and I still haven't seen it. But they brought out the Great Escape Criterion Collection in the US, but I haven't found it on the UK yet. Not as far as I'm aware.
You don't fancy buying it on the American version because you've got the ability to play the...
No, if it was a 4K, then yes, it's not though. I haven't got my region free player anymore.
Oh right, did you get rid of it? Did it break?
Yeah, because I got a 4K player now. I picked up some time ago, and but yeah,
so you didn't keep your region free one?
No, it was a bit ropey. It wasn't expensive. Well, actually, it wasn't actually a region free one. It was one I modded to be region free, so it was only a cheap Samsung player at the time. But
you can't hack the one you have now, the 4K.
No, I haven't looked into it, and I haven't seen any hacks. I've tried a couple of hacks to see if I still have my region A, as it will be, of the Dawn of the Dead series, Dawn of the Dead box set on DVD, and I've I put that in there and tried a few hacks that don't really work. I
remember I had a Panasonic Blu-ray a few years ago. I don't have it anymore, but in order to hack that, I had to buy a modded remote for it.
That's what I did. I bought one on eBay for my Samsung one.
Yeah.
And once you programmed it in, it would play them automatically.
Yeah, you don't need it. You only need it that one time.
But to be honest though, if, like, for example, The Great Escape was to come to 4K at some point, all 4Ks are region free anyway.
Yeah,
if you purchase them in the States, or over here, they are all region free. They play A, B, and C. So from that point of view, it doesn't really matter, because one thing that the Americans were a bit miffed about is that when a company over here released the Dawn of the Dead 4K box set, it wasn't available in the States. They had to purchase it from the UK because it wasn't, it was a British company.
Right.
So yeah, I've always fancied picking up the Mad Max 4K, but I can't find it over here. You've got to get it from a US store.
eBay, maybe.
Yeah, I think you can get it on Amazon still, but it has to come from another source, not Amazon itself. It's not it's not hot off the shelf. It would then come from a second supplier to have it shipped.
Anything taking your eye, Haydn?
I was like a bit of Arnie, so Last Action Hero. I know it's not the greatest movie, but it's still Arnie, isn't it? Doesn't really matter.
Very cheesy one, that isn't it?
It is. Especially when he gets into the real world and he kills a guy with an ice cream cone and he says, "Corny joke."
Yeah,
I did like the way they did that though, where he like tries to break a window in the real world and he nearly breaks his hand. And that sort of stuff, and police don't come immediately and all of that.
Yeah, actually there's another criterion. There's something else I've been wanting to pick up, but was at some point, and that is Peter Sellers being there. They did a criterion version of that. Because they do put a lot more into the extras and stuff like that. Because I do have the It's a Mad, 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 how many times you can say it, Mad, Mad World, and the Criterion Collection that has got the unedited full version of it. It's a long enough movie as it is, but there are some extra scenes being thrown into the collection. So give it even another half an hour, I think, another 25 minutes of footage.
I'll tell you one movie I wish that they would release, and that is, and now forget the HD version. Let's just go straight 4K version of True Lies.
Again,
that's a good movie.
Because we're still waiting for the other one that's been promised us, is The Abyss.
Yeah.
I'd
rather have True Lies, to be fair.
It's fun, isn't it? It's one of those movies that out of all the ones that Arnie brought out, still, I've got my DVD version here sitting here somewhere, and the Blu-ray never ever came out, did it? Whether it was down to the company that holds the license to it, I don't know.
But what I don't get is that on Sky they've shown it in HD.
Yeah.
Surely it can't be that complicated to press record and have a disc in. Is it really, and print off a cover and just send it out to a few shops? Can't be that difficult. They do it for other movies. Why not for that one?
Yeah, it's very bizarre how that works, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
I don't know.
But there's loads of movies that you'd love to see still in 4K, and as long as they can do it. I mean, we got Indiana Jones coming out in June.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Which I'm looking forward to.
Be good for the two good ones.
Yeah, well, no, the first three are okay. I don't know what you're saying. The first two of them.
The first one and the third one are good. The second one is mediocre, and the last one should never have been made.
It's very dark. It's very dark, isn't it? That's the thing. If you're one of those guys that never saw it in the cinema, then you missed a good chunk of it because it was edited to the hilt on TV, especially for grabbing the heart out and all that. They weren't going to show that on the television.
No.
I didn't realise until recently the guy that he fights next to the plane that's running with the propeller was what's his name? The guy
with his name, Pet.
Yeah. Pat Roach, is it?
Yeah, Pat Roach, yeah. It was,
the wrestler.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, same guy, isn't it?
Because recently, I've just recently caned the whole of Peter Pet on Sky.
Yeah.
And the series, this part of the series I never watched. I've watched these about 4 or 5 seasons. So if you ever want to catch up with the boys, there's they go to all sorts of places in it, and it's really good to see how the end pans out. Okay, charts, anybody?
Yeah, I'll do the charts. So we've got 5 at re-entry. We've got Beauty and the Beast at number 4, new entry, Snake and the Eagle's Shadow. Number 3, new entry, Karloff at Columbia. Number 2, up from 5, is Wonder Woman 1984. And at number 1, up from number 49, is Blade Runner.
How does that happen? What prompts that?
Everyone, I don't know. You think
as much as it is the best sci-fi movie of all time, and I'm going to always stand up for that. But it just unless something's maybe it's been on TV or somewhere, and people have thought, you know what, I need to pick it up.
Yeah, maybe.
someone on one of the Facebook groups that I'm in had put something down like Blade Runner is a very under-recognised or not very well-known movie. I thought, what rock has that person ever lived under? Yeah, it was.
How old was he?
Well, it's an over 40s, or I grew up in the 80s Facebook group.
So you obviously missed 1982 then.
I think, to be honest, must have been stoned out of the head for the last 30 years, to be honest. Because how can you not say that movie has not had the recognition as being the cult masterpiece that it is?
I mean, when they released 2049, then that would have, it would have been talked about again, and obviously the talk of Harrison Ford's character and the do's and don'ts and ifs and buts and whys and was he and whatever. But
yeah,
absolutely bonkers.
I mean, that's like saying Aliens. No one ever heard of Aliens. No one ever heard of Star Wars. It's up there with them. You can't. I can't see how anyone could ever say that movie does not get the recognition it's deserved. Yeah. And someone will probably say that it's not deserved because it's a bit boring.
Where did you get the chart from, by the way? Just out of curious.
I've just got a website that's just.
Is that like a HMV one or something? Or
I can't tell. I'll tell you where it is.
Yeah, that is one of my most bought movies. I've got a few movies that I've bought, in every version, other than Laserdisc, because I never had a Laserdisc player. But
it's a UK official chart.
Oh, okay. So I have like the 4K, the 30th edition. I've got, I've got so many different versions of it.
Mm.
And it's just an amazing movie. And every time I watch it, I just get chills.
And in a matter of fact, they've just updated it.
I'll say them. You're probably going to say the missus should shut the front door. I won't get the chills, but yeah. Okay, so this is the next bit of. Okay, so this is all down to you, Haydn. What have you been watching? Because we haven't really been watching much. Not like I can remember personally.
Well, I've been watching a few things. First off, I found out about this movie just by accident. Because it's one that had passed me by, but it's called Byzantium. So this is about a mother and a daughter who are posing as sisters settle in a small seaside town in England, where the daughter strikes up a relationship with a sick boy while the mother turns to prostitution. It's not long before fractures in the mother and daughter relationship start to crack as the daughter exposes their vampiric secret. So this is a 2012 vampire movie directed by Neil Jordan, starring Gemma Allerton, Sierra Rowan and Johnny Lee Miller, as well as Daniel Mays.
Oh, okay.
Remember him? So Code or Error 404 and Star Wars, Rogue One, and also Ashes to Ashes season 3. He was in those. And basically what this movie does is it takes a different approach to a vampire story, which is probably where its strength is. It's quite an original take on how vampires are, I would say. Generally a sound movie, doesn't live up to the creepiness of, like Bram Stoker's Dracula and, or even like Christopher Lee's ones and that sort of thing. The story's less about the horror of being a vampire, although obviously there is some of that in there, but more about how being a vampire in the 21st century would be and how such creatures could sort of establish connections and relationships with each other, because they are vampires, but they're also still people. They still have feelings, emotions, and, all of that sort of thing. So it's sort of like that sort of bit more touchy-feely kind of approach to it. I found it really entertaining, and its pace makes the movie feel more like a drama than a horror, I would say. It's a steady movie. It's one for you to just sit back, switch your brain off, and just go, yeah, okay, vampires are real, and just go for it. But it's, you're not going to be seeing what you see in a lot of vampire movies. Yeah, you still see them blood sucking and stuff like that, but not in the same sort of way. And I just found it fresh and original, if a bit slow paced at times, and a bit more thought provoking, both in its narrative and its general sort of themes. So good movie.
I thought, I mean, I think conceptually it sounds almost like something you'd get a series out of, TV season.
Well, there was Being Human, which was a very similar sort of thing. If you've ever seen that, it was that starred the guy off Poldark.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was really good, and that was about a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost who shared a house.
Right.
Sounds like a joke, but it was actually really good. I loved that series. That was on BBC.
That wasn't then. There's no link between the movie and that.
No link.
Being Human.
No link at all. The way people are converted into being vampires is different and stuff like that. But it's in the here and now, but it has flashbacks to sort of like a couple of 100 years ago.
Right.
And it keeps going back there and looking at how the mother vampire got converted, and subsequently how the daughter led to that. But really, I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a different sort of pace to what you would expect. And Byzantium is the name of the hotel, by the way. That's why it's got a weird name.
Right.
So that's the first one. Second one is something that's on Netflix at the moment, premiered on the 7th. I've watched the whole season because there's not that many of them, but it's Jupiter's Legacy. So this is based on the Image comic book series Jupiter's Legacy by Mark Miller and Frank Quietly. Shortly after his father died in 1929, which was triggered by Black Tuesday, former businessman Sheldon Sampson starts having visions and travels to an uncharted island in the Atlantic Ocean. On the island, Sheldon, his brother Walter, and 4 others receive superpowers, and they form a superhero team using his guiding principles of never kill anyone, never interfere in political matters, remain unchanged over remain unchanged for over a century, as the adventures of the Utopian. The next generation of superheroes, including his children, do struggle to live up to the ideal set out by his father of no killing. And when Sheldon's son Brandon is faced with the prospect of losing all of his friends and his mother and father and his uncle and everybody else that he cares about in a battle against this evil creature who'd beheaded one of his friends already and killed another by burning a hole straight through him, he kills that alien or that creature, but it turns out that it's actually a clone of that creature instead. But it ignites a lot of debate between the heroes as whether the ideals that were originally set out around the Utopians are actually relevant to that. So it's like, is Batman's sort of like rule of no killing, which is exactly is it still relevant in an age where somebody would shoot you in the face as soon as they saw you, sort of thing? Which it brings out sort of like a very sort of interesting sort of philosophy in terms of that if you were a superhero, about what your philosophy is in terms of how you how do you be a superhero without imposing your will on everybody around you, sort of thing, which these guys could obviously do because of all of their superpowers. And it explores a lot of the family and social dynamics of being a superhero as well, and how being a superhero impacts on the personal life. So, for example, a daughter has rejected the lifestyle and is trying to become a model. And in one shoot, she said, she gets told, right, you have to do the superhero pose now, because they know that everybody knows she's the daughter of a superhero and she has superhero powers. So she lifts up this car and chucks it at the person who's telling her that she has to do it, otherwise she's not going to get paid, sort of thing. Personally, I wasn't familiar with the source material. I've never sort of like seen Jupiter's Legacy to read before, but I quite enjoyed it and it was worth a look.
Very good.
So something a bit different. I think a lot of superhero, or another superhero show which seems to be taking that sort of tack, and it's coming back after a several week gap, is Superman and Lois, because
I've not really got into that yet.
It's well done the way that they're doing it, because it's whereas Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, focused on the Lois and Clark relationship, Superman and Lois is focusing on what is it like to be in a family where the dad's Superman, and one of his two children has superpowers, or has emerging superpowers which are not consistent, blah blah blah, and that child has a social anxiety sort of disorder thrown in there as well,
right?
So which seems to be immediately wiped out as soon as to find out, I've got superpowers sort of thing, which was a bit daft. But I like the way that they've taken it, because, and I don't know whether or not you're going to agree with me, or this is going to be a point of difference between us, Steve, but I think that DC now is becoming a joke in terms of Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow has been a joke for well over a year now. I just think the quality of those shows has not only gone down the toilet, it has now hit sewerage works.
Well, Supergirl, we know that they're on its last season now that's coming out. We knew that was coming to an end. Yeah. The Legends of Tomorrow, again, some good ideas, but that's still got another season coming. I'm not too sure. I don't think it's been given the boot yet.
I think it should be.
Yeah.
There were some episodes in the last... Well, I got up to the first episode in the last season where I was just like feeling... I feel like the show is actually taking a mick out of me for watching it. And I thought, I've had enough of this, and that's it. I stopped watching it after that.
But I think the only real one that we go to now is Flash.
And that's dropped in quality drastically.
I'm not too sure. Obviously, due to COVID, they did film some, then there's been a break after about 7 episodes. So it's okay. I mean, it's Flash still. It's still the same show to me. Some of the episodes have been a little bit weird, but
I feel that they've become parodies of themselves, though. I think that's the problem.
I think it's a bit sad that we're in this now kind of system of TV. I think it seems more of a US thing than here, of series just continuing until the viewing figures start to drop, and then they're finished. Nothing's ever really concluded, are they?
No, they're very ruthless
anymore. It'll go for as long as it pays.
Yeah.
And then once it all starts to drop off in terms of viewers, they'll finish it in a hurry, which is always disappointing.
Yeah. Well, if the execs aren't happy, then it's just shelved, and that's it. It doesn't matter how far they got in it.
I guess it's just the dynamic of,
But the thing is,
money-driven work industry, isn't it?
Yeah, but you get other shows that have such cult classic following, like Firefly, that are cancelled after a season, and yet somehow Supergirl just continues. I know it's on the last season, but it should have been killed a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, I think so.
It was good when it first started, but there's too much forced politics into it now.
See, it's funny. Well, I think, unfortunately, not on politics too much regarding any TV show now. It's funny that my wife's been caning a lot of TV herself, and she's been watching Legions. I think there's more to come out yet, but that show is around the Vampire Diaries universe, and she's pretty much hooked into it. And this is like the third show they've done. So they've had Vampire Diaries. There was a show after that, I can't remember what it's called, but then Legions. And I've got her into something that I used to watch back in the day, which is Charmed. Again, that's a CW. That's a CW show. And she said, these girls don't seem to always win, but she's now on she's well into season 2 at the minute, and she's loving it. So, but from CW, from our point of view, Arrow was finished, which I'm afraid they shouldn't have finished that for starters. Whether they did that because they ran out of ideas, I don't know. And I think a lot of scripts at the moment, due to COVID, have not been up to scratch due to I don't know if they're working from home still, that it affects them, or is it same for a lot of TV shows? They're very sporadic in what they're going to give you. I don't know.
I don't know what it.
And we've got so much TV that we can actually view these days that we moan about a TV show if it dips in quality a little bit. But to be honest with you, there's so much out there that we've still got so much to choose from.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Steve, there's not many people who are anywhere near the Star Trek fans that we both are. But let's be honest, some shows in the Next Generation were dire.
Oh, there's some. I mean, some of the episodes. But people don't go back and think about that now, do they?
No, I mean,
they go to it as a whole. All 70 odd episodes or whatever it would have been. I don't know how many.
179 episodes.
179, yeah. So you don't think about some of the bad ones in the first season, and that was so wooden, some of it. But
well, you look at the first season, there was only a couple of actually good ones. Conspiracy being the biggest one, which had a premise that they never ever followed up on.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the season 2 end show for Shades of Grey, which had nothing at all to do with the book, that was just a cut and shunt of previous episodes put together, and it was terrible.
Yeah, but remember, we've had over the years there've been writer strikes which have been given poor episodes, hasn't there?
Yeah.
There's been all sorts of American stops and starts regarding that, and obviously the global thing of COVID is everybody regarding TV shows.
I mean, I'm going to say a bold thing here, and especially as a Next Generation fan, is I actually think that the quality of Discovery has been consistently higher for the first 3 seasons than it was in the first 3 seasons of the Next Generation. And I know a lot of people will go, that would be like, I'd be like burnt at the stake for that.
No, but you're probably thinking in a blinkered world of quality of show, and especially special effects and everything else.
No, I'm not thinking about special effects.
No, but I mean, just as a whole, I mean, you might not think of it, in your head, but when you go back to how those TV shows were made and how it's a different ball game these days, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, it's comparing apples and oranges, but that's part of my point actually, is nowadays there is so much more control in terms of quality, and it really is shows are living and dying by a knife edge of a sword. As to whether they get cancelled or not. And some of them just get cancelled on a whim because whoever produced it doesn't like the lead actor or just doesn't like that genre of show, pretty much irrespective of the ratings, which used to go on as well. But I think when you're looking out, we do moan a lot about the shows that we watch if they're not conceived to be of good quality. But I think nowadays there's more consistency across shows than there was going back to the 80s. I think that the way that they do quality control is different.
Yeah, some things grab you, some things don't. I mean, not every Star Trek show I've been enamoured with. Some of them I think have been a bit poor compared to some. But again, it's your taste and what I didn't finish Picard, for example. Maybe I should go back, but I don't know. It's like you're bringing something up from the grave, and sometimes some things are best left where they were.
I started Picard. I started Discovery. Got a few episodes in.
Fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I think at the time I probably just had other things going on, but I haven't gone back yet to the.
I mean, saying that, it's like how long you've been trying to get me to watch Cobra Kai, and say you've got to watch that yet, Mark, haven't you?
Yeah, come on, Mark.
You've got to. I mean, yeah, you've got to crack that. If you're going to cane a show, they'd want the cane.
How long did it take you, Steve?
Under a couple of weeks. I mean, obviously,
no, but Haydn nagging you.
But I was but
with me nagging him, it's been about 8 months.
Yeah, so I've got some time yet.
What was really good though for me was that I've actually watched all 3 seasons in one hit, where they've had to watch them in dribs and drabs.
True.
Because,
well, I watched season 1. And season 2 was already out because I was very much sort of, it won't be any good. It'll be rubbish. The Karate Kid was as cheesy as hell. All of that sort of stuff. And I went and watched it, and it was just, wow. This is how you make a sequel to, an 80s movie. Oh yeah, it was just brilliant. And that was despite the Beverly Hills 90210 kids stuff that goes on as well in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you take that. Do you know what? I didn't mind that, to be honest.
I didn't mind it.
You know, I mean, I don't mind watching. You know, I've been watching a bit of Charm with the missus, and was it Charmed or the other one? And it's Legions, and that was like, that one was like, it was like the school that has werewolves and witches and all sorts in the same place. And whether you like Harry Potter and stuff like that, it's all the same sort of stuff.
Charmed is quite old now, isn't it?
No, well, Charmed originally was an 80s show. They then rebooted it again. But CW rebooted it a couple of years or so ago.
Right.
So this is under the CW logo where you've got Flash and Arrow and everything else.
Right.
Is it the same characters or is it different?
I think they may be called something different, maybe, but I don't remember the character names too well. But Mrs. is loving it, and I've got her onto another TV show to keep her quiet.
Well, we're still otherwise going through Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, I just at the moment, to be honest, it's like
pick that up.
Sorry,
I've got to start Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's the one thing I want to get round to.
Yeah,
but sometimes you want a show to watch. But this, I think we're watching. I think we caught up with, because I don't know about there, but I've been watching Young Sheldon on season 4 of that, and we both actually, I think it's any show that at the moment we're actually watching that we laugh together. Because you get the jokes, because there are callbacks, or should I say, call forwarding to the Big Bang Theory with Sheldon's life as a child that he talks about, and then his Mima, as he called her, bringing up certain things, and yeah, that show we still laugh at it all the time. We do enjoy it, and it's worth a shout. I mean, it depends if you're a really Big Bang fan or not. You know, the kid that plays it does a grand job for that show. But there's not a lot. I mean, there's a few dramas out there that the missus has been watching, but we've taken a break in a minute. But we'll be going back to, if you go back to be watching Greys again, a few more of those come out because they're on Sky now. So as well as Station 19, which is the sister show on the fire service. But
Is that Grey's Anatomy, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife watches that.
I've been watching I've watched it all. I'm going to hold my hand up here. I got into it. I really enjoy it because it's a good drama.
When it goes on for that long, though, don't you think it's basically a soap opera at this point now, isn't it? Probably
it is like Dallas or Dynasty or any of them. It is a soap opera. So Star Trek, you ain't going to say that.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It's soap opera in space.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they've had interns come and go in the hospital. The mainstays that are still there. Yeah. And new characters are coming. Think they're going to be any good, and they've actually been pretty, So, but did your missus watch Station 19?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've not seen her watch that. So, maybe she's not
aware of it.
Maybe she tried it and didn't like it,
or she's
because not aware of it.
What you do now is you have to watch one alternate weeks because
So there's a new season of Station 19 as well, is there?
Well, since it started, they interlink into Grey's Anatomy because when they have an incident, let's say there's been an explosion in a fire truck and there's something's gone off, and where do they take them? Where do they take the injured? They take them to Grey's, and the characters from Grey's are in the show as well. Okay. So you might, because in the season that's just started, one of the characters went over to Station 19 and left he left being a nurse. Right. So, but you ask your missus to have a look on.
See if she's on it. Yeah.
Because it is literally it's linked together. They are joined at the hip. Right. And she might, even though it's not hospital based, it's a drama based with the fire station. Yeah. But yeah.
She started Grey's in the sort of 2 or 3 weeks to this current season starting. She started it again from scratch from like day one.
Yeah, because there's a few actors in there that have become movie stars out of that show.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe you're not aware of it, and I've mentioned it to Haydn before.
The main guy that was married to Grey.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now.
He's done loads of movies.
Yeah, he has. He was in one of the last Bridget Jones, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was supposedly the father.
That's right. Yeah.
because it was only him or the other guy, wasn't it?
I can't. It's
He's
not,
actually he's actually
Patrick
in
Dempsey, isn't it?
yeah he's actually in Grey's in the new series without me spoiling it for anybody in a way. He's actually in it. He's in So is you watch? Have Mrs. seen the new series yet?
Yeah, she's watching the new season. Yeah.
Okay, because it's very much it's around COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
Clever,
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So
it's well made, I think.
Oh, is it? I mean, it's and obviously you won't be aware of this, but one of the characters in that is the mocap for Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Camilla Luddington.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
pretty fit. Yeah.
Not unattractive.
Oh, you wouldn't pick her up. But she's actually married.
As well,
and she's actually married to another member of the cast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There we go.
And they just had their second baby, I think.
Wow.
So, but it's pretty good. From that point of view, I've done about you, but in the 80s we used to watch Dallas and shows like that. They were a big thing at the time, and
yeah,
they made the headlines.
Yeah.
Made
the papers. Yeah.
Who shot JR, and that was big news.
Yep. Millions.
And the same thing when Patrick Duffy came out of the shower, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that. I was only a nipper.
Haydn doesn't it?
I know of it and I reference it often.
Yeah,
but I never watched it.
Yeah, so to correct the show, they had to make sure it was all a dream, and he came out alive and well.
Yeah, because they killed him off on one season, and 2 seasons later he wanted to come back.
So like Search for Spock, but they were able to deal with that quite easy, weren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, for Spock, the other way they could have done it is that all that they did is just beam up the matter and then use the last pattern sequence to re-bring him back. Could have done it that way, and taken out all of the radiation out of his cells at the same time. I'll tell you something else that we're doing this week. I've been trying to get my son off his computer, which is quite ironic. Trying to get someone off.
Get off it.
Yeah. So, and I felt like at some points I would need a scalpel to be able to remove his fingers off the keyboard. But he's going to study media studies next year at GCSE. So what I've started doing is giving him a grounding in some classic movies. Or we're starting on, some sort of like classic and cult kind of movies. So we watched Time Bandits.
Yeah. I love that movie.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's just such
Connery's in it again, isn't he?
Yeah, Sean Connery.
All over the place, or he did in those days.
Yeah, Sean Connery's in it. It's got John Cleese. It's got Catherine Hellman, if you remember her. She used to be in soap in the 80s. Ralph Richardson, Ian Holm.
Yeah. Michael
Palin.
Ian Holm plays Napoleon, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, that's right.
Plays it well.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah.
Oh, and David Warner as well. He's in it as well. But
he was in everything in the 80s, then, wasn't he? To be honest,
it was just such a. And it's been 20 years since I've seen that movie.
I remember. I think I actually remember watching it on videotape when it came out.
That was the last time I watched it as well.
I think that may have been the last time I watched it.
Yeah.
And because isn't this an Arrow release, isn't it?
It is an Arrow release, yeah.
So I might, do you know what? I might pick it up because it's one I don't remember it very well.
You've got to, and it's a really good Arrow release.
Someone else is in this. I didn't realise it was Shirley Duvall.
Yes.
From Shining.
I own it in Apple on my iTunes.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Kenny Baker's in it as well.
Yeah, because he's the right height. Yeah, he's one of the little men in there.
Yeah.
But
I
love this movie.
I watched it I tried to get my kids to watch it over Christmas, as in Christmas just gone in 2020. But I think it was kind of in the afternoon. I think we only got part of the way through it.
Maybe, how old's your kids?
14 and 10.
I think my son's 13, so
yeah.
What certificate is it now?
PG.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably no more than a PG.
Yeah. It never was any more than a PG. I remember I saw that for the first time. I went with my cousin and my older cousin, who was like, he drove. He was in the Navy back then. But this was when I lived in Stokesley, and we went to Redcar and watched it on the cinema, which is sort of like a cinema that's built over the beach.
Fantastic.
You know, on stilts, sort of thing. And we watched it in Red Car Cinema, and they stopped the movie halfway through, and my cousin kept sticking his arm out and going like that. And we thought, me and my cousin, my younger cousin, thought he was pretending that he could like see one of the doors or one of the holes. And it wasn't. It was evidently the roof was raining in. And then they said, "We're sorry, do you want your money back, or do you want to watch the end of the movie?" And everyone was like, "We want to watch the end of the movie. Cut it back on." I was 10 when I saw it.
I was going to say, what
40 years ago, 1981.
Yeah, so it was a year before Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, so I thought I'd show him this because I thought I wanted to gauge him on wackiness in terms of how far would he accept a movie, and I thought that's a good sort of like boundary tester sort of one, and he absolutely loved it, but he didn't understand the word.
The thing is, this is very much Monty Python style, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very, very.
You can tell the influence.
You know,
Yeah.
Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
The kid's called Kevin, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
But what happens to Kevin at the end?
I don't remember, so don't remind me,
can't
because I
remember
will
either.
actually. I
We
will
didn't
actually.
watch
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Christmas.
if you remember, Sean Connery.
Don't tell me.
Sean Connery played two
Spoilers.
parts in this. He played the Greek king,
Yeah.
and he
that
played
kills
the
him in
fireman.
Ah.
And Kevin's mum and dad blow up when they touch the little bit of evil. Yeah? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so he's left there, and Sean Connery's there. What happens? Do you remember?
No.
Now, I'd remembered for the last 40 years that Kevin went with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Is that what you remember?
I
Saying
knew-
that, yeah.
I thought that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
He
that.
doesn't.
Is that no?
No.
He goes off with the little guys.
No, he's left alone outside the burnt cinder of the house
Wow, that's sad.
Really
with all of the neighbours looking. That by the way, that's
sad then.
just in case anybody's thinking, right, the whole end of the movie's completely spoiled now.
Doesn't spoil it.
That's
I'm not listening. You carry on. I'm just looking at
that
something
is not spoiling the end of the movie. That's sort of like a happen chance prologue or epilogue, rather than actually spoiling the story of it, because something else happens in terms of the story. That's just sort of like a bit of filler at the end. But I completely, for the last 40 years, have remembered the end of that movie wrong.
There's so many different kind of, without spoiling it, there's so many situations in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just so comical and...
John Cleese's Robin Hood.
Yeah,
So you've done that. You
I
robbed
think
those
John-
people, did
John
you? That was
Cleese,
jolly
Robin
good show.
Ian Holmes as Napoleon is brilliant as well. You know, each of those situations is picked out really well, I think.
Oh, yeah, the whole lot's sort of like utterly fantastic. I mean, you know, Catherine Hellman as well, when she's, you know, talking to her husband, who's the ogre, who's played by, I'm trying to remember, it's what you call it, Vaughan, isn't it? Is it
Robert Vaughan?
Who? You're about from Sweden.
the ogre? The ogre was played by Peter Vaughan.
Peter Vaughan. That's
My back. Do you remember?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like how absurd that is. You know, it's like, and you know, she's shouting up, you know, are they in the cauldron, dear? Says, oh, nearly, while they're stretching him on the thing to secure his bad back. And everybody's going, what on earth are they talking about now? That's how absurd this movie is.
Right, saying that, I'm going to, because, right, have you got Prime Video?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I think, I'm just going to have a look now. Now, obviously this came out 1981, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had Life of Brian, Monty Python did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we had The Holy Grail. There's another film that they did, and no one I know remembers it. Now, I've watched it. I have a digital copy which I bought, which I'm meaning to purchase the Blu-ray, which is out there. Have you heard of Jabberwocky?
Yeah.
That was Terry Gilliam, though, wasn't it?
It's more, I think It's probably more than I say. It's more than Monty Python, but it's directed by Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
And if you don't remember that movie, I suggest you go back and see that because
I'm not sure I ever saw that.
So a young peasant has no interest in an adventure or fortune. Is mistaken as the kingdom's only hope of a horrible monster that threatens the countryside. And that came out in That came out the year of Star Wars, so it probably got very much overshadowed.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it was
not Star Wars. Was Star Wars 77?
Yes.
The first episode 4, yeah.
Yeah, so, and actually looking at it, it's included with Prime Video, so.
But I think it was at a time, I think it's credited not to Monty Python as a whole, though, is it? It's just Terry Gilliam. But they were working so. They were working so closely together.
Yeah.
At the time.
If you look at the cast,
you've got the voices and actors.
You got Harry H. Corbett in it, who was in.
Yeah.
What do you call it? I can't think now. Steptoe and Son.
Yeah.
John Lemessurier from Dad's Army's in it.
Yeah.
Warren Mitchell's in it.
Jim Broadbent's in it.
Rodney Bewes, who did The Likely Lads.
Yeah.
Bernard Bresslaw, who was in Carry On.
Come on, Sid.
Warwick Davies.
Yeah, you look at the cast, you think, oh my word, how many people are in this movie?
Warwick Davies must have been young.
Francis Dilator. Yeah, he would have been 10 because he's the same age as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, check it out. It is very funny in the same vein as Time Bandits. And
I will. I have to.
Oh, sorry, you're on about Jabberwocky. I was on about Time Bandits.
No, I'm going to talk about Jabberwocky. So, yeah, Michael Palin, Harry H. Corbett, John Lemessurier, Warren Mitchell, Rodney Bewes. Who else is in it? Bernard Bresslaw. Obviously, Terry Gilliam's in it. Terry Jones is in it.
Did the kid in Time Bandits, who plays him, did he go on to do anything else?
No.
And it's weird, right? It's Craig Warnock, his name is.
It is, yeah.
But the kid, one of my son's favourite movies is the original Gene Wilder, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid that plays Charlie in that never did anything else either.
Craig Warnock also played Jasper Ramsey into The Lighthouse.
Don't know that.
So yeah,
only 2 years after Time Bandits.
I think some child actors may get the break, but then they seem to. I mean, I remember the two kids that were in Escape to Witch Mountain, Walt Disney movie. Remember that?
I've not seen it, but yeah.
Haven't you? Okay.
I've not seen it either.
Right. So there's they're brother and sister characters in the film. Walt Disney movie about their aliens. There was a remake done with The Rock not too long ago. But the boy in that ended up going into Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, playing Scott's nephew, and he died on the table, if you remember rightly, Haydn. And the girl was in John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13, and she was shot by the villains of the piece at an ice cream. Going for an ice cream. But they've all done bits and pieces like those two kids. They really did get other roles.
Well, I mean, you look at, a lot of, not so much child, but a very much younger actor. Star Trek First Contact and Lieutenant Hawk. That was Neil McDonough, who was also on Captain America.
But you think some of these child actors from Disney, I mean, that's where Kurt Russell came from. That was his embedded.
And he still does work for him now and again now.
Yeah, I think he does, yeah. And that was where he started his career off, until John Carpenter spotted him. But yeah, it's bizarre.
But it is amazing watching old movies where you look in the background or even like a bit part and you think, my God, that's X, Y, or Z.
Can I say that with what I watched? I forgot. I thought I'd mention it because what we talked about last week. So I picked up in the post while we were recording last week, Rollerball, and to one of you or both of you, you might look at me and go, "What the heck?"
The original, wasn't it?
No,
the original.
I know the movie. Yeah,
the original.
James Caan. Is that right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So James Caan is a corporate control future of an ultraviolet sport.
I quite like that movie, but I've not seen it for years.
Yeah. Represents the world. The powers of the athletes want to get him out of the game, and they're trying to force him out to retire. His girlfriend in that is Maud Adams, and I didn't even blink to recognise her. Now I looked, and I can see it because she was so young then. We're talking, say, 1975. Can't imagine how old she was for that. And you look at the images of her, and you can see it now, but I didn't twig when I watched it last weekend. 4 days ago.
Well, what year did you say that was?
That came out in 75.
Yeah, well, 1974, she was in Man with a Golden Gun.
Yeah, but it didn't look like her. It didn't look like her. I was looking at the image and I'm thinking, what you can do with a different set of hair, you know?
I mean, looking at the picture of her on Microsoft Bing, which is supposed to be her recently, she still looks okay.
Oh, she does, yeah.
And she's 76.
Yeah. But as I say, there has been a reboot of Rollerball, nothing like the original. The idea of having the motorbikes and the roller skating rink with the metal ball fly around the arena, and you have to throw that into a metallic magnet net, and then that spawns Speedball. Yeah, I can see that.
That's Maud Adams 2020.
Yeah,
just holding up a picture.
Yeah,
walking.
That's not
dog.
The picture I was looking at.
I was gonna say she's not looking. She's looking 76.
If you like old movies, definitely check out Rollerball. I think it's a classic in for what it was.
Yeah,
it's very much drama based. I like the sport. The scenes on the roller rink are great. I love it when they come up against the Tokyo team.
Yeah,
that are using their jiu-jitsu and whatever to try and help them get through.
They end up knocking off his best mate, don't they?
Yeah, they take him out. Yeah, Moon Pie.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple of people in the background of this movie. You've got Shane Rimmer, who's a trainer. A lot of you will know him for the voice in Thunderbirds, and obviously he's done a few Bond movies in his time. And Burt Kuok is in it as a Japanese doctor when they're in Tokyo, who was Kato in the Pink Panther.
Yeah.
When I was watching it the other night and I saw him, I could not laugh. I could not help but laugh because he is embedded in my brain as that dumb manservant.
Yeah.
That was going to call him.
Or genius manservant when you think of all the ways he tried to kill Crusoe.
Yeah.
And also he was on one of the Bond movies, wasn't he? Doing the countdown.
I think it was in You Only Live Twice.
Yes, it was, because it was in the volcano layer.
Yeah. No, I was about to say something, but I won't say it because it might seem a little bit non-PC, but I was watching Alan Partridge the other day, and I was listening to Alan talking to the guy that looks after the maintenance of the place, you know, the Geordie.
Yeah.
And he was talking about when his time in Thailand, and he mentioned about, because there was an episode where he wants to do a Bondathon, isn't there?
Yeah.
And he's got
I know what you're going to say.
And he's got all the cassettes in a box, and his PA spills the orange juice OJ into the whole dot. But they're talking about, I'm not even going to say it on this show, but what he comes out with just makes me laugh when he's talking about You Only Live Twice.
Yeah. And when he's saying it's like, you know, when he's sneaking around the house earlier on in that episode.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I was going around like in the style of 007, and he meets the guy from Newcastle in there, and he was like, so, of course, if he came from your end of the woods, he wouldn't be Dr. No, he'd be Dr. Note.
Yeah, he went, okay. Should we skip on the questions? Have you watched anything at all, Mark?
I just put on there. I did start a series last night. It's kind of not. It's a factual series on Apple TV. Either of you guys have Apple TV Plus?
Yeah.
There's a series on there called Home. I'm pretty sure it's just called Home. HOME.
That's not a button then.
And it is about various individuals all across the world. I've only watched the first 3, I think. They're all over the world. There's a woman in Bali, and they've basically designed and built their own homes, but they're really unusual. There's a guy in Sweden who built his house inside a massive greenhouse, so he has its own climate. Virtually, he can grow for much longer periods, grow his own veg, and he's almost self-sustaining. A woman in Bali, she was Canadian, but she lived in Bali, built a big home out of bamboo, entirely out of bamboo, because she wanted to promote that as a kind of environmental building material. And then there's another guy in Chicago who is buying up, he's an artist anyway, so I don't think he was short of a penny or two, but buying up old buildings on the south side of Chicago, which is one of the worst areas in the city, renovating them and making them into kind of communal sort of art spaces and libraries and that kind of thing. If you have Apple TV, it's worth a shot. It's quite interesting. I'll see where the others go. The Swedish guy and the bamboo guy, woman, I found kind of more interesting than the guy in Chicago. The guy in Chicago came across slightly as kind of doing it for his own publicity, if nothing else. But it's interesting bit of TV. That's all I was going to say.
I want to see on Apple TV For All Mankind.
Yeah, that's on there. There's I have it because I was subscribing to Apple Music anyway, with a family membership, which was £15 a month, and they offered me for $19.99 a month. I could upgrade it to. They do this Apple One now, which came out a few months back, and for $19.99 a month, you get music, TV, and arcade, and extra cloud storage as well. So for me, I was already paying for extra cloud storage and Apple Music, which was $17.50. So for another $150, I got arcade and TV. It was a bit of a no-brainer.
Have you watched that? I can't remember what it was called now. Good Morning, I think it was, on Apple TV.
Yeah, isn't that called the Morning Show? The
Morning Show, that's it. Yeah, really.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell. Watch it. It is absolutely brilliant. It really is. It's the best thing on Apple TV.
What I'm finding, because it's almost entirely, I think, original, isn't it? Original materials, series, movies. The production values are just so high on all of that I've seen on Apple TV so far. It's just, really high standard they're putting out.
This is it. Netflix and Apple TV, they've all got the money behind them, haven't they?
They have, but I think it's, just in the way that it's made and the finish on them, it just looks fantastic. I think better than I've seen on originals on Netflix.
Do you think now that, even though we do pay for a TV license, we have to, do you watch much BBC TV?
I watch the news. I watch the news. That's it.
Personally, I watch probably, if I'm watching just regular on Sky, say, I'll watch BBC probably as much as anything else.
I mean, there are some certain shows that are coming that are having their next season and stuff like that you probably get to watch. I mean, like, obviously Life of Mars is going to be getting another season, so that'll be on the BBC.
I mean, I tend to watch things like QI, I watch on, and that's BBC. I love that programme.
I used to watch Question of Sport, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard that was getting a complete revamp this year. Yeah, like they're doing away with the Sue Barker's going, and who's you got Phil Tufnell's going, and who's the other guy?
I was watching it back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, I always have.
Emlyn Hughes was on there, and David Coleman, I think, and Bill. Yeah, I mean, it's like when you were stuff like that you were watching, like It's a Knockout, and you could bring that back. That would be great to have that back.
I'm not sure they'd accept Stuart Hall now, though. He's gone bad, hasn't he?
Well,
or he went bad. So that,
But it's funny because at the moment there's a TV show, isn't there, called In the Line of Duty?
Yeah.
Everyone's been talking about it. I don't even know what it's about. I'm not aware.
It's a police. Claire watched it, my wife. It's a police drama, isn't it? It's just a police drama. I think it's the modern equivalent of Prime Suspect, from what I can see. It's captured everybody's kind of attention and imagination for some reason.
I don't think I've actually watched anything like that since I used to watch Broadchurch, which was a fantastic show.
That's David Tennant, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I can't think of the woman.
Olivia Colman.
Olivia Colman, not McCall. Colman, yeah, that's it.
I've actually been to Broadchurch. I've been to where they filmed that as well, actually. It's not far from me.
I must admit, I'm quite looking forward to on Sky they're getting season 2 of Breeders. Have you seen that one? No. It's Martin Freeman.
Okay. Oh, yeah. He hasn't done much for a while, has he?
No, hasn't he?
Well, he did season 1 of Breeders last year.
No, but I mean, he was doing Sherlock. It was coming out of his ears, wasn't he? And
Yeah, but I suppose Benedict Cumberbatch is more tied up with Doctor Strange and stuff like that now, isn't he?
Possibly, yeah. So there's a few bits and pieces that'd be worth watching.
But I tend to browse.
Do you end up watching older BBC shows though? Because I say if I just want to crack and a laugh, I'll always put Alan Partridge on just for 20 minutes or so. Because and there's not many TV seasons of it, unfortunately.
But he's got a new season out, hasn't he?
He's got a new show where he's on morning TV. I have started recording it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not quite as good.
It's not in the same vein. Obviously, his PA's still with him, bless her.
Most of the TV I watch is just something to make me laugh, usually.
Yeah, I mean, because they were not it coincided with me doing that podcast, but they've just been rerunning Fawlty Tales on BBC.
Yeah, I own them on Apple anyway, but
yeah,
it is funny.
But some of these shows they're bringing out now, they're just re-releasing and that, I think. Yeah. Because you haven't got comedy like that anymore, unfortunately, on TV. No. There used to be an influx of TV which would make you laugh, and at the moment there's not a lot of it.
Maybe it's not aimed at us. Maybe there is, and it's just not aimed at us.
I mean, obviously, Modern Family. Have you finished that, Haydn, yet?
Yeah.
You have. You got to the end.
Yeah.
How did you find the end? Because it was really sort of. My missus was a bit tearful about it. I mean, it was we've been with them for 10 odd years, 11 years, whatever with that show.
As to be honest, I don't think that that diminished in any way, considering I watched the whole lot within a year.
Yeah, that was a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it was. It was a real big. It's a bit like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's a lot of episodes in that. I mean, we're on season 3, about episode 10 or something or other like that now. And there's about 20 episodes in each season, so that's a lot of 8 seasons to get through. A lot of episodes.
There's a lot like that, and we got another season of. Not that I watched the last. I got bored of it. There's another season of Stranger Things coming out, isn't there? There's been a season trailer released not long ago. Maybe I should go back to that and finish that off. I don't know.
Isn't that who's the youngish English actress?
Yeah, she went to school around here where I am.
Millie Bobby Brown, is it?
Yeah, she did. She did the Godzilla movie recently.
Have you seen? I can't remember whether it's on Amazon or Netflix. Enola Holmes, I think it's called.
Yes, my wife watched the series. Watched that on. That's on Netflix.
It's a movie. It's just a movie.
It was on Netflix.
It's quite good. It's worth. It's really well. Like I was saying about the Apple TV programs earlier. It's really well. The production value's through the roof. It looks beautiful, that movie. That's
actually a younger. It's a link with Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? Remember right?
Yeah, that's right. Who's played by Henry? Is it Henry Cavill, the Superman guy?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes in that movie. Is it?
Yeah, it's Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
I didn't recognise him when I did walk in the room when he was on it.
Wasn't wearing his cape
or his tash.
Actually, you might.
And it hadn't been digitally removed.
That's what he might have a cape. He might, because of the era it's set in, he might be wearing a cape at the point in time.
Just doesn't have a big S on there. That's what it is.
And he's got his pants on the inside.
Yeah, you know what? I don't actually. I'm just looking at it now because I didn't recognise him in it.
He just plays.
Oh yeah. I'm just looking at it now, but now I can see it. But when I just walked through the door when it was on, it didn't twig that was him, to be honest. Yes, that came out September 23rd last year on Netflix.
Yeah, it's quite good. Well worth a watch. In Enola Holmes. It has the kind of element that you get in Miranda, where she talks to the camera sometimes. They call it the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool.
Yeah, it has those elements.
They did that at the end of Sopranos as well. At the very end of Sopranos, the last 5 minutes, which was a bit odd, really, but yeah.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
All the time. Yeah. It's not a how do you put it? It's not a new thing, is it? It's been going on.
But it isn't used. It isn't used very. I mean, despite rattling those off, it isn't used that often, really.
I think sometimes you'll get an actor or an actress to glare at the camera as if to say just to break it for a second, and then they will just carry on maybe.
I think the two movies where it's been broken the best, though, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Deadpool.
Funny.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm trying to think. This must be more than that. Say that maybe comes to mind even more. So I mean, a TV show from that.
It's weird because Millie Bobby Brown does have that when she's doing breaking the fourth wall. It is very much in a Miranda Hart kind of style, because occasionally it will just be a look or just mouth a word or something like that, and sometimes it is more conversational, but she does it very well.
But I mean, the way that they do it on there is very much more like, as well as Miranda, that sort of style's quite Office sort of breaking the fourth wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was thinking of another one, and it's just completely gone out of the back of my head. I can't think. But there is a few where you get that. Modern Family.
Yeah,
right.
But because that's to say that's a docu-soap type, isn't it? So
yeah, which is what The Office is as well.
Yeah,
and The American Office are both done as sort of docu-soaps.
So anyway, should we move on, because I didn't realise the time.
Questions?
Yeah.
Questions.
So let's go for questions.
John, what's happening to us?
Someone called Mark sent one in. Do you want to do that, Mark?
my Mark's Malkovich moment.
Yeah.
I just put, do you think the current, well, I was just thinking today as I was looking at all the stores trying to find stock, do you think it'll have long-term effects that you can't get, the 3080 graphics cards or the PS5 or the Xbox Series X? Do you think that will have long-term effects on this generation of consoles? Or
I think if anything, it'll make these consoles have a bit more longevity.
I think it's got to, isn't it? How long was the Xbox One? 7 years? And the
7
PS4?
years. The average is about 7 years. It wouldn't surprise me if the next consoles, if we get more consoles, don't hit for, well, another 7.5 years. I reckon it'd go to 8 years, because of just looking at the COVID year as a false start.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the flip side is perhaps people will have played them more because of the lockdowns, and you might
if they've got one
forwards. Well, yeah.
Well, what do you feel? I mean, even though we know about the consoles and problems you've got with those, but I've been listening to another show, the podcast I listen to normally, and they were talking about graphics cards, saying that you're having trouble getting some of the ones that are out at the moment, and they're getting very heavily overpriced. And then on the same flip of that, you're going to get people trying to release another one on top of that, and
it's ridiculous with graphics cards. The problem with graphics cards is it's not only the scalpers, it's the miners, because the crypto mining is still popular, and people buy up those. It's either they're buying up for crypto mining or they're buying them up for scalping, and that's leaving everybody else in the middle just struggling to get what they want. I mean, when you look, I've got a 3080 in this machine, and I could take that graphics card out and sell it for more or less what I paid for the whole PC.
I know, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, I've seen 3090s, the next model up from me, which is supposed to be, like the £1,500 card, or £1,200, something like that. I've seen them up like £5,000 on eBay. It's sort of like, who the hell is going to pay that amount of money for that graphics card? It'd have to be somebody who's so desperate to pay that amount of money. I mean, the card I've got in mind is supposed to be about £800, but I could get about £2,500 for it.
It's now getting stupid,
according to eBay.
Yeah, it's everything now is being ridiculous.
Yeah,
products. As to say, we said this earlier. What with other sort of not necessarily this. We're talking any product you want to buy that's in short supply.
Yeah.
I mean, I need a new RAM for my work laptop. I want that to be delivered. And I don't know how they're going to get that okay or not. I haven't got a Scooby Doo on that, to be honest, but I need it because I've got a Windows 10 machine that's slowly slagging its arse at the moment.
The main problems is not the RAM, it's the graphics cards and it's the central processing units. They're the main.
But these
problems.
are all put together across further away, aren't they? Should we say in other lands and
COVID will have had an impact on the production of that.
yeah.
And the whole canal element will have had a bit of a play in that when that ship got grounded. But the problems were well before that as well. And they're supposed to have sorted out those problems about the boats waiting to come and go. So it's just, it's just where we are at the moment. And people are just buying them for whatever that they're going for. I mean, it's ridiculous when you think that a realistic graphics card for a new system would still be like a 1050 or a 1060. People even considering them. They should be on 3060s.
Yeah. I just had a quick look on eBay. Series X's at the moment are between 550 and 600 quid still, which is actually a little bit less than they were, I think,
It's
a week
come
or
down.
two ago. Yeah.
And what Sex are selling PS5s for is £100 less than they were about 4 months ago.
Yeah, so it is slowly coming down.
Well, I think that's it's come down more so on Xbox, because I think that either the demand for them is slightly less or they're satisfying the supply better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at here a 3080 gigabyte GeForce 3080 10 gig Aurorus Master, which is exactly the card I have, £2,100.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And RRP is 800, you say?
RRP, yeah.
Yeah. So it's near enough three times the price.
Yeah, so just short of £300 of what I paid for this PC was £300 more. So I could nearly pay for the whole PC by selling a graphics card. But what would I put in?
Yeah.
That's the problem. So there's another one, a Founders Edition here, 2,200, 2,250, 2,300. It's a stupid time, and people are stupid for paying that amount of money. I mean, I know that some people will be desperate to get the machines going because they've broken their the graphics card, or it's malfunctioned or something, and they're desperate. But don't build a PC now. Wait.
Yeah.
Just if you've got a 1050 Titan, it'll play most of what you want anyway. Might not play it in 4K, but just get your monitor to upscale it or your TV if that's what you really want, and just wait for those prices to come down because they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never ever pay that amount for a graphics card. I don't care how desperate I was.
Should we go on to Jason Toon?
Yeah, I think Haydn should answer this one. I'll start with this one.
Okay, so Jason Toon's asking, with the remaster of Mass Effect coming out, are there any games you would like to see receive the remaster treatment? He's saying he'd love to see more RPGs like Dragon Age 1 to 3 get a re-release with some new paint slapped on, or maybe a Fable trilogy for the new installment before the new installments arrive.
So we've had a remaster of Fable 1 already.
But that was for last gen.
Yeah, last gen. So I doubt they're ever going to upgrade that. But
well, mind you, sparking the argument, so is Mass Effect.
I wasn't know about that. Just wait to the end of the show and you'll hear me rant. Anyway, so Dragon Age 1 to 3. I just actually rewatched it now. There's a trailer for the new Dragon Age game as well, isn't there? Coming out.
Yeah.
That's all it just says is Dragon Age. Along with, obviously, they're both linked together. What I was looking at with the Mass Effect trailer telling us that more Mass Effect will be coming. So, new stuff. But I think people that love Dragon Age, if they gave that new stuff a paint, that would sell like hotcakes, I think. Oh, look, Hayden's lights have gone out.
No, I'm back.
Put the 5p in the meter, mate. Go on.
What would you say, Hayden, to that?
I would say what I would like to see would be Dead Space get remastered, that trilogy, because I think that would be really, really cool on the new consoles, or even with the optimization for the new consoles.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout. If it was trilogies, do you remember games? I think I played them on my PlayStation 2 called Driver. Do you remember those games? I think there were definitely two. I don't know whether there was a third or not.
What I remember
But-
most was in San Francisco.
Yeah, but they were great games. I'd love to see an update of the driver games.
Mm.
Fantastic. Just bombing around a city with slightly dodgy handling, but intentionally so. Just fun.
And what's the film called Driver? Called Ryan O'Neill. Do you remember that? 'Cause that's where I think they got the idea from it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What you mean.
Yeah.
What was the movie where you were not movie game where you were driving through the city more recently and you could switch from one car to the other? Was that the more recent incarnation of
That was Driver. That was Driver
was like
3.
a reimagining of Driver, wasn't it?
Wasn't it Driver 3?
That was Driver 3, was it? And you could kind of mentally go from one car to the next.
Yeah.
Anything you could see in front
Something
of
like
you.
the Matrix.
Yeah, because wasn't your character in a coma in a hospital or something
That's
like
right,
that? You were
yeah.
taking over the consciousness.
That's right, yeah. I did play that, but not a huge amount of it.
Mm. But yeah, Fable. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the new Fable. Hopefully that won't be too far away. I mean, they teased it, but that could be another 3 years away yet. I don't know. You don't know how much development's going on in the background. And obviously the same thing with the Star, the Bethesda games,
Yeah, I mean, they kind of did it with Skyrim.
They've had a nice slip of paint on them anyway, haven't they?
Yeah.
To be fair, and with a bit of modding involved as well.
Yeah.
And a lot more games are now getting the little updates in the background for you to add the HDR to get visually a bit better. I mean, I know I want to see a new, but I mean, there's rumours of a new Bioshock coming. But I really would love to see that. I think that's still one of my favourite trilogies again.
Yeah.
Came out.
Mm.
And I say, before now, I think I know Haydn and I would have definitely said we'd like to see Mass Effect, and we'd probably saying that years ago, didn't we? And now it's here, physically here. So
Yeah, we've been saying that for about the last 7 years.
yeah. So all good things come to those who wait. You never know.
Yeah, as long as you wait long enough.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so if we go to Richard Matlock's question.
Trilogies, anyway.
Yeah. So he says, has there been anything you've hated from a distance and ended up loving it? For me, it's Stadia. As money is tight at the moment, I am getting my next-gen fix from Stadia when before the idea seemed crazy. I didn't think anyone would still be playing with the Stadia, to be honest.
I think it's quietly just now reached a bit of a background subscription base, isn't it? I think there are users that are, supporting it still.
Yeah.
But Google's not supporting it, is it?
Well, no, they said
In
not.
development.
So I'm assuming that means no updates or anything like that.
Yeah, and with Amazon, I mean, is there anything you've hated from a distance that you decided to love then that you can think about?
I mean, I was just looking through my library now, and no, I don't think so. If a game doesn't really, what do you mean by hate from a distance before you've even tried it? I guess.
Well, maybe
Don't-
something you
don't
didn't
like
really
the
think
idea.
didn't think it was for you. I think, right, you know what? Nah, I think about it. It's nothing for me. But sometimes there's a game you might even purchase that you've not even actually opened up the box to, and you just leave it alone, and you think, you know what? Why did I wait that long?
Yeah.
That happens a few times, and there's some other games you've tried and you've hated it and said, why did I hate this? I should have hated it before.
I could think of one. And it's a new gen game, which is Immortals Phoenix Rising. I looked at that and I thought that's going to be no good. And then I ended up buying it because there was literally nothing else to buy for the the next gen consoles that I didn't already have or tried or wanted to play. And I played it, and it's a fantastic little game. Definitely worth playing.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through, and I think for me, another fairly recent game is Hitman 3, and it's the only Hitman game I've played, so I guess that would count.
That's brilliant. Brilliant
Yeah,
game.
I've quite enjoyed that, and I think it's a game the look of it didn't really fit with me, or didn't think it would anyway. But I've actually, quite enjoyed Hitman 3.
It's really, really good. By the way, it was Driver San Francisco, not Driver 3.
Right. That was a newer gen as well, wasn't it? I think. It was quite a
PS3.
big, it's quite a big gap between that and the previous two, time-wise, I mean.
Was it? Because I think when did I leave PlayStation? I think the last game I played was Getaway.
That's PlayStation 2, and I think the original Driver 1 and 2 were on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Driver 3 was 2004.
So no, I've not played that one.
Whereas San Francisco
Unless
was 2011.
Yeah, but I somehow remember San Francisco. Unless it
was on Xbox as well, wasn't it?
Oh, there you go.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on 360, PC, Wii, Mac, and PC as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Shall I do Scott Kidd?
Yeah. Interesting one.
Okay, simple one, really. What was your first job?
Are we on about first full-time job, or are we on about
when you left school?
When you left school, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was working. We had a family business, and I just ended up going to that. It was like garden centre, nursery, growing, and I was there for 20 years, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah, worked outside all that time. So helping my friend out recently, landscaping wasn't such a kind of big departure from something I used to do.
Yeah, but when you used to be in a nice warm hot kitchen and to put up with the elements.
Well, I mean, chefing, I really enjoy it, but I've actually only done that for about 7 years now. So, yeah.
Well,
Haydn still can't remember that far back.
No, I can remember that far back.
Says the old man.
Says, yeah.
To the
older man. They didn't have jobs in Steve's day.
I
used to barter services.
I actually went into apprenticeship. I did. I was a 5-year apprenticeship.
Wow.
My first, I actually had 2 jobs when I first.
Okay. Which one was on the street?
Oh no, that was my hobby on a weekend.
Okay.
Because I got them both at more or less the same time, and I didn't do very well in sixth form, shall we say. I didn't do very well on my GCSEs, and I sort of like half stayed back a year it took a year to resit my GCSEs, and I also started my A levels. But I sort of started them, so I started some subjects and not others. And then passed my GCSEs, got all of the ones that I needed, and then went into my A-levels, and it just all sort of went wrong. I was off for a while with tonsillitis, had it really bad. I was doing maths and stats, which was the hardest version of maths and stats to do, to do mathematics at A-level. And I just couldn't keep up with it because I'd had such a gap in that education, and I was getting no support from my school. So I left, and I thought, what I'll do is I'll leave. I'll go to college in September, but what I'll do is I'll get a job in the meantime. So I got a job as a toilet cleaner in Strikes Garden Centre,
Nice.
Which I'm going to say the number of people who I can only describe as deliberate toilet missers was unbelievable. And I'm not talking liquids.
There's an old joke about getting a promotion and giving you a brush. It's a Michael Palin saying the line. I think it's a Monty Python joke.
Probably is. But no, that was one of my first jobs. And at the same time, I also got a job as a telephone market researcher. So I used to do one and then go and do the other. And this is like, it's basically sort of call center. I wasn't selling stuff. I was actually getting information, which we then sold that information to like Volkswagen or BMW or Ford or whoever about what vehicles businesses had, and I had like a whole pattern which I still remember to this day on what I used to do when people used to, I used to phone people up and ask them about the cars and vans that they used to use, and I used to be able to tell you every model in 1989 of car and van that was on the British roads because I had to memorise them all. So yeah, that was my job, which I ended up leaving after 6 months, and I went to work at County Hall, and I ended up not going to college full time, but I ended up going to college and university part time, and I did my ONC, HNC, and then postgrads all part time after that. So I've never, although I've been to university and I have 3 postgraduate qualifications, I've actually never been to university full time, and I've done it all part time study. So I've had the university education, but not the university lifestyle.
It's a better way of doing it because you don't build up the debt these days.
These days it would have been, but back then I would have got all of my education for free.
Yeah, grants and things.
Yeah, so that's just the way it is.
Very good. Steve?
Sorry?
So you bartered?
Yeah.
So I did an apprenticeship.
Someone gave you a penny and you ended up on a ship.
Yeah. No, I was actually I had a good job. I followed in my dad's footsteps. I was an electrician, and I did a 5-year apprenticeship. Went to college 1 day a week. Did one night a week as well. Did all my city and guilds courses with the joint industry board for the electrical contractors, and that's basically where I came from. Which from there I got sort of hunted a bit and hounded for changing my job sideways into CCTV and stuff like that. But yeah, good times as an electrician. I worked with a good crew in the company I used to work for.
Is that
good love.
Commercial or homes?
Everything we did commercial industry. We did. I've done wired up flats and houses before, all that from scratch. In all sorts of industry, from farming to I did a lot of lighting arrangements in Regent Street for the department store. We had one job we went into in London where we did a lot of work for Penguin Books. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
So we looked after their main depot in just outside of London near Heathrow, and we got also one of the little contracts we got was doing up the stores, Penguin bookshops. So they did have their own Penguin bookshop, but they also had in the store. So for example, there's one we had in London off of, I think it was Regent Street, big department store. And we do all the lighting arrangements and power for all that sort of thing as well. And I've done all sorts of stuff with being a spark. It's been good fun. I did enjoy it. It's good.
Sounds interesting.
It was a good choice for me to choose at the time. I did, if I go back now, there's all sorts of jobs I'd love to try from scratch. But it was interesting. I was always either outside or inside. In winter time, I could be on a building site working on a project. Like I did one project I did do that I was looking after was a table tennis hall in Slough, which was used for tournaments. I've done some work with schools and all sorts, yeah. But it's all the same. At the end of the day, it's the same thing, but just in different backgrounds. Power for buildings and lighting. I did some sewage treatment work stuff as well, which is completely again a bit differently. And I've been building panels to operate some stuff at Gillette. We had a plant. There was a gassing plant for shaving foam we did, where we put all the electrics for that together with programming the computer side of it to actually run the plant from start to end of sort of bottling the foam in Gillette's shaving foam.
Mm.
So yeah, I've done some work at Pinewood Studios in the background there. Other little places that I've done work with petrol stations, and yeah, it's pretty varied. As I say, I do enjoy the staying away time we did. That's always good fun. We had a few projects in Wales, Nottingham, which was good fun as well. And used to stay away for 2 weeks at a time, earn a bit of money, drinking beer during the nights and that. And
yeah.
Get up for work the next day. We used to stay in pubs for digs, so we always have a good lock-in.
Convenient, yeah.
Yeah, but those days it was a different world. You'd go to work. Lunchtime. You'd go down the pub. That's what it was. You wouldn't think of it now, would you? 3 or 4 beers and go back to work.
If I'd be that, I'd be disciplined for drinking alcohol while on duty.
Yeah, well, you would. Any job today you would do, but that's what it was like in the 80s.
I'm going to say yesterday.
Go on, Steve. I was just about to say, just an example then, Joe. So Ashes to Ashes, with the old police going to the pub. That's what it was like for every tradesman. Lunchtime down the pub.
We had because we had the staff training yesterday at front of house. They did all the coffees and everything first, but then around lunchtime they started doing the cocktails. So there just happened to be quite a few cocktails lined up on the pass.
God.
So one of the managers said, "Help yourself if you fancy one." So yeah, had an espresso martini at lunchtime yesterday in the kitchen.
Okay, who's next? I really need to go somewhere rather quickly in a minute.
Okay, I'll do Neil then. Neil's saying, with the Xbox Series X and PS5 controllers getting plenty of new controller colours, what colour would you like to be released next?
Okay, I'll start. Mine's not a colour, but I would like to see them, and I don't know whether it could be done with the kind of I think it's pretty low voltage. I'd like to see them have metal cases, like do titanium or
like a brushed aluminium or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be really smart, I think. Yeah, because you can put in, engravings or whatever patterns on them if you wanted.
Yeah.
Well, same for the machines as well.
Sorry?
Machines as well for the consoles themselves.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
I mean, obviously there's like fridges out there now, will be soon, but
yeah.
But a lot of people are very ingenious with actually breaking these machines down and
I'm sure you can get
with them.
Sort of things on Etsy and stuff like that.
But it would sort of invalid the warranty of the machine.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I'm going to say what I would like to see is like a really super high glossed shell for them with some nice colours. I prefer like blues and purples and stuff like that. Very rare. I like red, although I do like the look of the new PlayStation controller in red. But I think like a really nice super high gloss sort of plastic shell, no rubber on it anywhere. Thank you very much. Would be really good.
There's quite a few places you can get console skins now, isn't there? To give them that look, and some of them don't look too bad. If you put them on correctly.
And how about RGB in them as well? Because it means that they really go better.
Really, you glow better. You mean? Yeah. It's like if you could crack open the top of the Series X and just run some LEDs inside it, and it just glows out the top with the vents.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Yeah. But I'm not so worried about the actual console machine.
I mean, as we said earlier, I looked at that colour selection I just had on that screen was like went on forever in the background with each controller with different designs.
Yeah.
So you can do what you want.
Imagine having a nice copper, developing a patina and changing all the time. I mean, I'm a chef. It's all about knives. It's metal, So,
What about like the what's that that colour that blends into itself on the car? I can't think what they call it now. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Like a chromium sort of.
Well, not sort of chrome, but it's
but that's just blends of paint. Though,
but then you look at it in different light, it does give a different colour.
But that's where they mix different pigments into the same paint.
That's it, and it gives it a sparkle of
a
colour,
metallic.
Yeah,
very clever. Shall I do Paul Wilson then?
Yeah.
Sure. Do you think Sony will release their own version of the frame rate boost for older games? Playing a game at 60 FPS is a real game changer. Microsoft are knocking it out of the park with FPS boost. You agree?
Oh, they should do it. Whether or not they will is another matter.
I think that they will, but I think the issue there is it's only going to be for PS4 games because they won't do back compat.
What about when I have no experience with PlayStation now. So when you play a game on that, is it exactly as it was originally?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's where they could do it potentially.
They could do, but your overheads on PlayStation now would be quite high in terms of getting 60 FPS downloaded.
They're like PlayStation. They have their own way of doing things, and they.
And they won't listen to reason or customer opinion.
What about Stadia? What's that pushing down people's internet?
I don't know, because I've seen people saying that unless you've got 100 megabit, don't bother, and then other people saying they've got 18 megabit and it's fine. But how fine that is, I don't know. Are you really going to be getting 4K 60 FPS on an 18 megabit line. I can't really see that.
No. But what we're saying then really is we don't really expect Sony to do that, do we?
No, we don't.
But I don't. But
To answer its question.
But when you're talking about PlayStation now to the PlayStation, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
And I think that they will do something to improve or enhance the performance of PS4 games. But I don't think we'll ever see the enhancement of PS3 games because they don't even let you do PS3 games. That's what I mean.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they might do.
Yeah.
I mean, their agenda is slightly different to Microsoft at the moment, isn't it? I mean, what they want to do. They obviously want to crack out as many games as they can to bring out to the customer.
I mean, for some games have already done it, like Ghost of Tsushima, because on Ghost that they've done a 60 FPS mode, and by all accounts, it looks fantastic. But I saw my copy as soon as I completed it because I platinumed it, so I don't know how it looks. I've not seen it, but it's supposedly, I think Richard from the group, he played that and he said how fantastic it looked. And I can imagine that because that game is stunning on a normal PlayStation, let alone anything else.
Okay, should we get to the last question because I really need to be going somewhere.
Okay.
Really speed up this. So this is probably going to go back to one of our earlier questions, but Justin, he says, Mass Effect remasters have really reminded him how there has not been a game in this game series to capture the space adventure quite like these. To be honest, without Andromeda was not a patch on the first Mass Effect game, I still found it an enjoyable game, but what are your favourite game trilogy series? Probably could go back to what we said before, to be honest. I think Fable and Bioshock come to mind.
And Dead
Scrolls,
Space.
For me, you know, the
Elder Scrolls, well, yeah, that goes without saying.
I mean, there is a big,
and
usually quite a long time between them, but
yeah, and Fallout as well.
Yeah.
Isn't Elder Scrolls technically a quintology?
Yeah, it's more than a trilogy, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's a series though, because he just says series, doesn't he?
Yeah, so
does it even count at all? Because there's so many years between each.
Well, yeah, it still counts, I would say.
It's a series of games, though, isn't it? And it's in its own same.
Yeah, it's the same universe, I suppose. So.
Yeah, but I still would love to see a remaster of Dead Space. I love those games, and I'm not one for horror normally.
No, but actual trilogies, nah.
I think there's one game that's not been mentioned at all that we expect something to come from somewhere. Will be another Grand Theft Auto at some point.
Well, aren't they supposed to be releasing the there was talk about PlayStation 5 owners getting a optimized version for the 5 for free on that, 6 months ago when the consoles were first released. But that seems to have just completely disappeared.
It's gone by the wayside, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times can you optimize a game, though? I mean, it was already re-released.
Would you really want to pay that again, though?
Yeah, it was already re-released for the Xbox One and PS4 with the first person mode.
Played on the 360.
It was already released on the 360 as well, and the PS3.
Well, that was the original releases.
Then
it was remastered, wasn't it? And now we have a remaster again, maybe. I don't know.
Was it remaster? Or was it just?
Well, they added in first person, didn't they?
Yeah, but also wasn't it like a particular specific one and PlayStation version of it rather than a? Do you know what I mean? Because it felt more than just like an upgrade in the quality of the graphics.
But I don't think the geography of it changed, did it?
I can't remember.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
It didn't. No.
I don't know what they did to it. It was a natively. What I'm trying to find the words for. I think it was a natively created version of the game for that because it was the end of the one era and the beginning of another, wasn't it? That when it was released.
Right. The original release was really close to the end of the 360 PS3 because I was in two minds as to whether to buy it even or not. It was only within 3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah. And then they brought out the native version for the last gen.
So you think that you're saying that was made from the ground up again for the same game?
No, I don't think again. I think it was made alongside so that it was, it was a bit like Black Flag was. So there was the 360 version of Black Flag, and then there was the Xbox One version of Black Flag.
Thinking about it, Wasn't the first-person mode added later?
Much later, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't come out when it was originally re-released, did it?
No, I'm not even sure whether or not that originally started out as a PC. Oh no, it wasn't. Was it on PC at that point?
That came
Not
out
even
in
sure.
2013. That did originally.
Yeah, there was. I think it was the sort of May time, was it, when the Xbox One and PS4 came out in the November of that year?
And it got pushed, didn't it? I think at some point.
Yeah, because it was originally going to be October.
So GTA 5 was released on 17th September 2013 for a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. On the 18th of November 2014, it was re-released for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Finally, in the 27th of January 2015, it was released on PC.
So it was even later than I thought. If it was released in the September originally, and the Xbox One and PS4 came out in the November, that's why I almost didn't buy it.
Mm.
But you got the update for free, didn't you? You didn't have to rebuy it.
No. No, you didn't get the upgrade from the 360 to the One.
No, free. I don't think so.
You bought it again.
So I think when I paid on the 360, I got that from Boomerang, banged through the door on day one.
Wasn't that a rental thing, wasn't it?
It was,
Boomerang?
yeah.
I remember that.
God, I remember you doing all of those back in the day.
Yeah.
I never used them. I did look at it, I think, but never, no. I used to have a local shop down here that was basically a game rental shop.
Yeah, I didn't have one of those
place.
as such. I had a place for buying them, but that was handy to have because there's so many games coming out then. You could rent 3 games and it worked really.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we call it a night?
Sounds like
we are running a bit on the late side. We're going to have to rethink this.
I'll be more prompt when we start.
Well, yeah, that was only 15 minutes though, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, but then we had a bit of chat afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, for me, so Twitter @Steve007, PSN ID is the real Steve07, Xbox is Steve007, Instagram is Steve00764, and Steve07 for my YouTube channel on Movie Soundtracks. Mark.
Okay, I'm Kitchensmith _ either end on Instagram. Twitter, I think I'm still Ace Plantman. My gamer tag is Kitchensmith. And my email is mark@kitchensmith.co.uk.
And I'm basically HERJUK on absolutely everything. PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, you name it, apart from Epic, we're Pop Culture Gamers. And don't forget, you can follow the show on Facebook. You can join our Facebook group for some chat. Follow us on Twitter @PopCultureGamer. You can email us at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. And don't forget to visit our website, anchor.fm/popculturegamers, and come and visit us on YouTube as well. Just search for Pop Culture Gamers.
Okay, so thank you guys. A bit of a long chat this one, I think. Another record one, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
just
another long
11
one.
o'clock. Anyway,
oh well.
So as typically, it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from them.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.